First president to grow up watching Dragon Ball Z. When do you think that'll happen?
I don't know. It could happen next presidential.
I mean, the heyday of Toonami was what? Like the early 2000s?
Sure.
So that means that person is, let's say, 12. For purposes of argument, let's say 15.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which means add 2002, add 20 years to that, right? So 2022, next election 2024. 2024, we could have a president that could make a Dragon Ball Z reference.
Yes.
Of some kind.
Yes, that's true.
What we need is a fusion between these two State Departments. No, I don't know. That's what I'm guessing. Or a Sailor Moon reference.
There you go. That'd be even more rare, though, I think.
What's a hot Sailor Moon reference?
Moon tiara action. Something like that.
Is that a catchphrase?
She throws her tiara a lot.
But does she yell Moon Tiara action?
Or moon prism action or something like that. I don't remember exactly.
She yells, what kind of fan are you? Fan shaming. Okay. Or even if he somehow worked, I'm just assuming it's a guy, kissing cousins into...
Sure.
Just as a colloquialism, we'll count that as a Sailor Moon reference. You want to explain that one?
Neptune and Uranus are...
Easy.
Are lovers, but in the American version, they decided they were cousins. And that somehow does not make it better.
Stop me if this isn't going to work.
Okay.
I just realized that I can ask you to stop a bit if it's not going to work. Our future, 1 year later, no bits. So the creator of Sailor Moon, whose name is...
Oh, boy.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm a really bad fan.
It was really close. No, it was really close. I feel like you knew at one point. Are they... Don't know if it's a guy or a girl.
It's a woman.
Oh, cool. Is she really progressive or something?
I don't know that she's really progressive or
what
she
is
just...
the Japanese... Well, speak for all of the Japanese people,
oh boy.
Not being one in any way. Are they forward, progressive is the word, about their stuff? Because I feel like they're not. But are they in their media?
Well, it's weird because, you have things like no theater and kabuki theater where men played women.
Yeah, but that's not. That's just some weird get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah, I know. But I feel like they're not necessarily as... I don't feel like being gay is as
cool,
widely as accepted.
Right, that's
as it is in the...
I wanted you to confirm it, though.
In the U.S.
Yeah. I agree. But then they've got this weird tradition of Bishonen characters that code very, just stereotypically homosexual.
Yep.
But all the girls love them, and they're totally straight.
Right.
Totally straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go, but don't you go, yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
It is weird.
That you agree that it's weird. And then if they do have a homosexual character, it's camp.
I guess it could be camp. I don't know. I don't think that the Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune one was played for cheese or whatever.
Right, that's how we started this conversation. I'm saying that is some weird kind of outlier that shows a real progressive streak for the creator of Sailor Moon and for Harmony Gold. No, that's Robotech. Whoever it is that produced the Sailor Moon cartoon show said,
sure.
Yeah, we'll keep that together.
Well,
that's fine.
There's also later characters who were pop stars, who were male pop stars, but when they transformed into their sailor personas were women.
Okay.
So.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is that like dick washing? I'm trying to figure out if I should be mad about that.
I don't think so.
So did they just fight the forces of darkness and then they just turn back into a boy band?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do they think about being girls?
I think they thought it was fine.
Isn't Inuyasha, he gets wet and he turns into a girl or something like that?
No, that you're thinking of Ranma 1/2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, The reason I had to go through that whole math problem with the Toonami thing is because I'm older than that. My thing will be like first president to make a Ninja Turtles reference.
There you go.
But like Eastman and Laird, like not the cartoon. all four bandanas red. You can still tell them apart. Well, I hope you can tell us apart. We're the Just Enough Show podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mika and Hannah.
And this is it.
Yep.
What I think of as the Return of the Jedi of the Marvel phases of films.
Yep.
Trying to figure out who the Ewoks are still, but I'm sure we'll get to it in our discussion that's coming up about Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's right.
Here's how I justify these shows being 2 hours long.
How do you justify it?
I've seen so many podcasts created merely for the purpose of doing this, where we've been doing it for 3 years now and counting, and they do, half an hour, maybe 2 hours on Doctor Strange.
On each movie?
Right. But we're doing it 3 shows, 3 phases. Each show is around 2 hours, but also gives you all the rice and beans and fixins, and we do news and all that stuff too. And you get it done, punch it out, 6 hours, you're done.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
And hopefully our insights add to the insights we've already made about these films that we've already talked about.
This is true.
But we're doing it in the context of them within a phase. And we're doing that for the 3rd set of Marvel Cinematic Universe films. We'll talk about when does Phase 3 end?
We don't know.
It hasn't yet.
Yeah.
It never will. Will there be a Phase 4? We don't know. We'll talk about that at the end of the segment. And we'll speculate a little on what we think we're going to see in Infinity War.
Yes.
Which we'll have, of course, a review and a discussion of on our next show. And also a little news, in just a little bit, tiny bit of news, another probably news blitz. We'll do you click to find out more, Starship Troopers type thing.
Okay.
That worked out good last week, I think. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Cal.
How's your pop culture life?
My pop culture life is good. It's strong.
It's very strong.
Yes. I'm reading about hot trolls, so that's always good.
Hot trolls. You talk about it so much. Give the author a plug.
Oh boy.
Wow, you're not a name.
I'm
person,
terrible at names.
Okay, well, I'll talk about your hot trolls while you look for the name.
Okay.
So you're into these urban fantasy books.
Yes.
I think it started with Melissa F. Olson.
Yeah.
What's Rainbow Rowell?
She's young adult. Like,
it's not fantasy though?
It's
like
not fantasy.
Stuff, isn't it?
No.
What is it? Like computer stuff?
No, it's like
I have no idea.
It's like young romance.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. So anyway, and then it dovetailed into the winter people, the elf, the fairy books.
The fairy books
right.
by oh my gosh. This is terrible.
Did you get the troll one?
I did. It's Danielle L. Jensen who wrote the troll books.
Okay. I'll continue.
Okay.
Can you type and listen to them?
I think I can.
Do you ever read any of Alex Bledsoe's stuff?
No, I never have.
Because he does, I don't know if it's urban fantasy, but fantasy-esque type stuff, like the Fairies of Tufa and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. And he was a guest on Craft to Services, our bad movie review show, where we talk about movies that audience rejected and critics rejected. No, it wasn't. I've done it in a while. Critics rejected, but audiences embraced.
Right.
Movies that were poorly received at the time that they came out, but went on to storied remembrance within fandom.
Yes.
And the name of the fairy book person was...
I'm still looking at... Holly Black.
Holly Black.
Oh, my gosh.
No, there was another... Wasn't there another set of Sealy and unsealy somethings that you were looking at? Was that all Holly Black?
I think it was mostly Holly Black.
How'd you forget Holly Black?
I don't know. I'm a horrible
Nowadays,
person.
everybody want to talk like they got fairies to write about, but nothing comes out when they flap the wings. A bunch of dinglings. These mother effers act like they forgot about Black. All right, wow. Still got it. Let's talk about the news.
Okay.
Just want to say real quick, on the day we're recording this, it is the birthday of Steve Englehart. Steve Englehart, comic book creator. He is 71 years old today.
Happy birthday, Steve.
And he has worked all over the spectrum of comics. We're going to talk about one of his creations in a little bit, Mr. Star-Lord.
Oh. Very nice.
Yeah, character's very different when he wrote him. But yeah, he created Star-Lord, and he worked on Avengers, Justice League, Green Lantern, Captain America for a long, long time. I think Cap Wolf is his fault.
Cap Wolf.
Yeah. Oh no.
I don't know
Phase
about
4.
Cap Wolf.
Phase 4.
Okay.
So yeah, happy birthday to him. Let's talk about this news. Here's how it works. I'm going to read a headline, and you can click to learn more.
Okay.
And do your part, or you can say, don't say anything at all.
Okay.
Just goes by. Or just say pass, I guess. And let's say you get 5 clicks.
Okay.
And maybe we'll keep track, and maybe we won't.
Okay.
Universal Fan Con, celebrating diversity and inclusion in pop culture, indefinitely postponed.
Ooh. Click.
Okay, so Universal Fan Con, and I actually hadn't heard about this, so this is maybe part of the problem, is an entirely crowdfunded con in Baltimore.
Okay.
And this is from its press or its website. It is a, quote, multi-fandom con dedicated to inclusion, highlighting women, LGBTQ, the disabled, and persons of color.
That sounds great.
And it was supposed to be next weekend, the 27th through the 29th at the Baltimore Convention Center. And they just announced that it has been indefinitely postponed.
That's terrible.
It is terrible. Nobody knows why. They're not answering questions, which is great, but, I mean, you can understand. And it was set to feature, your usual bouquet of celebrity guests, Billy Dee Williams, the guy that plays Hodor.
Okay.
A lot of fifth and sixth below the line, below the credits
Sure.
on this thing. They had started off with a fundraiser that was looking for $25,000
Okay.
and earned about $56,000.
Well, that sounds...
So about doubled its money.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That 10,000 people they expected
Okay.
at the Baltimore Convention Center,
Okay.
that thing's got to cost more than $56,000. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, probably.
You've been to a regional Wizard Con, right?
Yeah.
Say Wizard Con Madison.
Sure.
Look around. The zombie shoot 'em up alone.
Yes.
No, I don't know. Security, appearance fees. I don't know how taco in a bag vendors work. Do they pay you or do you pay them? I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I assume that they're going to have vendors and exhibitors, and those are all table fees and stuff, but those generally I don't think you expect to make a lot of money from that, do you?
No, I don't think so.
No, you don't make anything from, if you are a creator and it costs you $150 to have a table and pimp your wares, like,
Yeah.
what's $150
Right.
to the con? Nothing. So, I don't know. Usually you go into debt, you get $10,000 through the door, it's $50 for the weekend or whatever.
Right.
And then you just pay everybody off on one day, right?
Right.
But for some reason, this has been shut down.
Well, that's too bad.
It's canceled necessarily. It's just postponed. Yeah.
Well, that's rough because then you need to rebook guests or...
If you can.
Yeah. And then, rebook the venue.
Yeah.
Which
probably the most difficult part.
Yeah. I mean, you plan these things out at least a year in advance.
Yes. So I don't know. It's too bad. There was I forgot to look this up. I was going to look it up for the show, but there was last year, I think, or maybe the year before, there was that thing. It's going to be a lot of things and a lot of indescript nouns.
Okay.
But it was like a thing. It was a con, and they were going to do it in the abandoned Macy's or whatever.
Oh my gosh!
I know, it sounds like Fred and the Scooby Gang should be looking for Old Man Withers there, but
yeah.
But it was like a department store that went out of business, but it was an open space, and so they set up this thing, and then they had it, but everybody canceled at the last minute. All the guests got word that this is not going to be a real thing. Because there's birds and rats living there.
Oh boy!
And so everybody, I don't know, Summer Glau or whatever canceled, and so pretty much everybody canceled, and the thing was a bust, and everybody accused the organizers of being shoddy about it and basically walking away with the money.
Okay.
That's the big concern here. If you're either somebody who has had a really great idea with a noble intent to create a universally accessible con that celebrates all these different things they want to celebrate in diversity, and you just didn't have the juice because you're doing it by yourself.
Right.
It's not easy. It's not easy. It's easy for a wizard to put a con together and nobody comes and then just not do it again.
Right.
And they eat the loss. Only they've eaten a lot of losses. They're not doing well.
Yeah, they have.
Or they are double evil because they thought, we'll get a bunch of people to come to this thing because it's LGBTQ, and then we're going to walk off with the money.
I somehow don't think that that's true, but
Yeah.
maybe
Why?
because the original, like...
Because $50,000 isn't a lot of money to walk away with.
Well,
what are they gaining?
But also, like, the heart of this was to be inclusive and
Right,
everything.
but you can say whatever it is.
I know.
My heart is to cure puppies with cancer, so I'll take $1 million. I'm sorry, the cure didn't materialize, but I can route you to a site for puppy coffins.
Oh boy,
Puppy coffins, title of the show.
No.
Yeah, so it's too bad. But
Yeah, it is.
I think it's all on the level because $50,000 isn't a lot of money to steal from anybody.
No, it's not.
I think it's just mismanagement. It's too bad.
It is too bad.
So anyway, if I hear anything more about that, I'll bring it to you and the listeners.
Okay, sounds good.
Amazon developing Transhuman and East of West genre series from comic book creator Jonathan Hickman. She's
I don't know if I
thinking
should
pass
click or
at
not.
me. Masters of the Universe will be directed by the Nee brothers.
I want to click on that one.
Okay, well, at least it'll be short. The Nee brothers are Aaron and Adam Nee are going to helm a He-Man Masters of the Universe movie.
Okay. I'm curious because the other He-Man movie was kind of a spectacular flop in a lot of ways.
Yes, it was.
So I'm just kind of curious who the Nee brothers are, first of all, and that they're doing another He-Man movie.
They're they're white. I don't want sit down. Are you sitting down? You're sitting down.
Whew. Wow.
They're white.
Okay.
They have worked on Law and Order.
And that's it?
No, I don't know.
That's all of note?
One of them was an actor. One of them is a cinematographer, and they don't do anything. I mean, they've worked. They did like an indie film.
Okay.
They were on a list or two of like the new faces, the new male white faces of independent
boy.
filmmaking. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, put
They
a
were
pin
in
in
a
that
band.
one. Oh boy.
You want to know what their band was called?
What was their band called? The Nee Brothers?
If I imagine these words, I'm gonna. The audience can't see this, but I'm putting my hands out, and I want you to imagine these letters in between these hands.
Okay.
Okay, these are just letters.
Mm-hmm.
The letter R,
Okay.
the letter U,
Yeah.
the letter O, and the letter K.
Rock?
Come on, Steve Martin, you can do it.
R-U-K? What was it?
What was the other? What? Come on.
Are you...
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
These guys, they should just
Wow.
lure them outside of the doors of Hollywood with a Triscuit. And then as they bend down to pick it up, they hear a clanking sound. And it's the gates of Hollywood closed and locked behind them. Come on, this can't be a good sign, right?
No.
Canon Films did a better job. That's my opinion. Editorial. Amazon orders Utopia drama series from Gillian Flynn based on the UK show.
Remind me, we watched Utopia, didn't we? I don't know if I want to click on it.
Okay, well then we won't talk about it.
Okay.
Too bad we wasted all the time talking about Utopia on earlier shows. Paramount teams with F. Gary Gray to turn Mask into a film franchise.
Mask into a film franchise.
You're like the kid, you've been this kid with, okay, so for any kids listening, there used to be these cameras that you get out of a bag at the store, and they've got little wind, they're made of paper and they're windy, and you're going to Disney World and you take 20 pictures in the parking lot, and you've got 8 pictures left to take at Future World. That's what you do with this.
That sounds about right.
Sci-Fi orders Russo Brothers' Deadly Class adaptation to series.
I'm going to click on that one.
But there's no story there, though.
Oh.
Right?
I guess it already kind of tells you the story.
Yeah, you got the story.
Okay.
I mean, I can try to tell you more. Deadly Class, Image Comics. We've talked about it before. Variety calls it a graphic novel. I hope that's Variety's screw up and Rick Remender didn't tell them it's a graphic novel when they asked him. But
excuse me.
yeah, with Remender, who knows?
Push up the glasses.
Remender and Craig, who are both really nice guys. We met and talked to them at 2015 ECC? 2016.
Yeah.
Emerald City.
Like that.
Yeah. The pilot was ordered last fall, and it has now been ordered to full series.
Okay.
On Sci-Fi.
Cool.
Or whatever they do.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. Sci-Fi is, I don't know where they're getting the money, because I always assumed it was a money issue, but they are developing and looking for more things from actual creators.
That's good.
No Mansquito, no
Sharknado.
lazy, I guess this is mean, but no lazy Bionic Woman reboot. That was NBC, I guess. Because they ordered Night Flyers from George R.R. Martin. They've got Krypton and Happy, which is based off of Grant Morrison's thing. So they're actually going to real source material.
That's good.
And not just Volcanotopus. It is a volcano with 8 arms. Really scary. Next story. NASA's got a plan for galactic positioning system to save astronauts lost in space. I'd probably call it stars. Steven Spielberg to direct film adaptation of DC's Black Hawk.
Next story.
Wow. William Gibson's The Peripheral adaptation in the works at Amazon from Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. You're getting better at this.
Okay.
Kathy Yan to direct Harley Quinn spinoff starring Margot Robbie.
That pretty much says it, doesn't it?
Netflix booms in first quarter to hit 125 million streaming subscribers, again beating forecasts.
What's forecasts? Oh, forecast. I thought it was something else.
It's a new streaming network.
Yeah.
Forecast. Actually, that would be if you were going to do a network that was solely. Remember the channel on your cable box that just tells you what's on other things?
Yes.
That forecasts.
Yes.
Call it that. And it always has the weather running at the top.
There
anyway,
you go.
Yeah, it's forecasts. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think you even did 5. Anything you want to double back on?
I'll double back on the Harley Quinn story.
Ugh. I mean, great. Yeah, so they're just Gotham adjacent projects are a dime a dozen, it seems like, in Hollywood. We talked last week about Christina Hodson being tapped to pen the new Batgirl movie,
Yes.
Which I think we thought, if they're smart, we'll have her chasing after Harley Quinn, at least in one scene.
Yeah.
Or we'll have some kind of Birds of Prey brand tie-in if they're going to do a Birds of Prey movie. And so we've got Kathy Yan is now going to be doing this. She made her feature debut in film with a movie called Dead Pigs.
Okay.
Which is a fairly recent film. It debuted at Sundance this year.
Okay.
And it's a small film. So we're all
waiting with bated breath.
We're doing this thing where we go, okay, young filmmaker, you're hot.
Right.
How lucky is Ron Howard to be working on a giant franchise film again?
I think he's pretty lucky.
Shouldn't it be Ron Howard's grandson?
Yeah, the way that they're
Ron
giving
Howard
it
must
to young kids.
go to the wherever they have the parties or the conventions for genre film directors, and everybody's got a vape pen and a handlebar mustache, and he's like, "Hi guys," he's got his cap
hat
on. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sir, no caps in the restaurant, please. Yan is a former Wall Street Journal reporter as well. It gets weirder and weirder, and this isn't weird. I just want to mention it because I think it's cool. She is Chinese American.
That's cool.
And she'll be the second filmmaker, female, to direct a DC film.
Very cool.
Marvel Studios. Still zero.
No
Still
female filmmakers.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, you can. Bowden and Fleck, I guess, are doing Captain Marvel.
Right.
Which we'll talk about.
All right.
And, of course, Ava DuVernay is supposed to direct New Gods, but that will come out, I think, after this. They're still developing that.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Did you get everything you wanted on that?
What about the William Gibson story?
Oh, okay. Now you're cheating.
Yeah.
William Gibson's book, The Peripheral, which I can't tell you anything about because I haven't read it.
Oh, my.
I know I'm the biggest William Gibson fan in the world, and I have not read this one yet. But it is going to adapt this for television. I mean, it's Amazon, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy of...
Westworld.
Riding a horse.
Yeah.
I feel like the theme is really distinct, and I've forgotten it completely.
It just went out of my head.
Premieres tonight.
I know.
Yeah. They'll be doing that. There's a guy named Scott B. Smith, who I'm not familiar with, who'd be the writer and executive producer.
Okay.
It follows a woman, not all of them, but many of Gibson's protagonists are women, in a near future America, and she's finding that technology is subtly altering society. So just the news.
That's surprising.
Then, huh, Bill? Just opening up USA Today. That's what you're doing. No, seriously. Could be cool.
Okay. Well, that has potential.
Do you remember Rubicon?
No.
I think that's what it was called. James Badge Dale, Leckie from the Pacific.
Okay.
Oh, maybe you didn't watch it. It was an AMC show.
Okay.
This is like the AMC's like first misfire after Mad Men and Breaking Bad.
Okay.
He stars as a guy who I think he either worked on for the CIA, or I know his dad worked for the CIA, and after his dad dies, they've got to put his house in order, and all of his dad's old aging Cold War spy friends all kind of come to him, and they're like, really sorry about this, but look out type thing.
Okay.
And then he finds out that he's caught up like in a thing, but not a Jack Ryan blowing up thing. It's going to be more David Strathairn's like talking quietly to you kind of thing.
Okay.
And audiences just didn't bite, but I want something like that, and I think this could be that kind of thing.
Yeah. It sounds like it has potential.
Do you think that they'll do that, or they'll go, does it have to be near future? Like, what can't we like shoot things off and like, oh, this drone is going to shoot a laser at you? And
oh boy,
what was that?
I don't know.
What happened to that series that was it Matt Damon and was it Damon and Affleck joint? Can you fill while I try to figure it out?
Damon and Affleck joint.
I don't mean just talk nonsense for like 30 seconds, but
okay.
Can you tell me how you feel about one of the stories that you heard?
Well, I guess I'm excited that the Harley Quinn movie is going to be helmed by a woman.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And I think that the creators behind this Will Gibson adaptation are pretty good creators, so hopefully the product will be pretty good.
Did you hear the story about the event? I think it was like an industry event, but they did a Q&A with Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, brother of Christopher Nolan.
Right.
Married couple, writer-producers, and some of the cast. And they did a Q&A. And the first guy that comes up is like, hey, love the show. It's really great. It's great to talk to you. I'm a writer myself.
Oh, boy.
And immediately everybody in the room is like, oh. And he went on for like 10 minutes. Yep. And the end of his 10-minute thing was he wanted Jonathan Nolan to read a script.
Of course he did.
And you know what they did?
What did they do?
They immediately stopped the Q&A.
Oh, my gosh.
That was the last. They did not take any more questions after that.
That's too bad. That one guy ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, but at the same time, don't Q&As ruin everything for everyone?
I suppose.
What I'm thinking of is Incorporated.
Okay.
Incorporated. It was on the Sci-Fi Network, and it was produced, I believe, by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. This might have been a Project Greenlight thing. I don't know.
Okay.
And it's set in like a somewhat near future, and it's like it's not cyberpunk, but it's like we've got touch computer screens and stuff.
Sure.
And it's about, there's a sinister thing about a corporation's gonna something.
Sure.
Yeah, anyway, okay. It came and went. That's how good it was.
All right.
I remember looking forward to that, and then being kind of like, oh, Matt Damon, you got to shut up. You got to stop talking about stuff. And then I lost track of it, and the world lost track of it.
Oh, no.
But anyway, doesn't say if they'll get a second season, so who knows?
Oh, boy.
Got a way to end the
That's
news?
too bad.
You have a way to get us out of this? We got to start writing down a list of your down-home aphorisms.
My down-home aphorisms?
Yeah, your sayings of corn-pone wisdom. So if we ever get caught, you can just be like, wherever you go,
there you are.
you got to put a thing on your head to remember where you left it.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun.
I thought the Jurassic Park theme was monotonous. Who composed that?
I don't know.
I'm not looking it up. I don't care.
Okay.
Phase 3.
Yeah.
The phasiest of the phases.
Yes.
We've come through. And if Ant-Man is any promise, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
We've watched all the movies of Phase 3.
Yep.
We're going to talk about them. And then we're going to talk about well, first of all, we'll have a Q&A session.
Okay.
I don't want to be treated any differently, but I've read Thanos' Quest and the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity War. So if you have any questions about what you don't understand yet or what we can expect going in,
Okay.
I can answer those, and then
All
we can
right.
give our predictions about Avengers Infinity War.
All right. Sounds good.
Let's talk first, just because it seems like a good opening bit, about the impact of this, right?
Impact of
2000
Phase 3 or impact of all the films?
Yeah, it seems like it should be Phase 3, but I want to talk about Infinity War itself.
Okay.
Because nobody cares about this, so we put it in this show. No, just kidding. I guess we can talk about this next show. Maybe we'll save a lot of it for next show. But it's 10 years.
Yeah.
It's literally 10 years since they've started this journey. Now, they didn't know they were starting a journey in 2008.
That's true.
Can you think of any other cinematic example of this? I don't
Not
mean
to the same extent. I mean, there's the Transformer movies, but they don't span 10 years and, have lots of different characters and that sort of thing.
right. But what I'm talking about is a cinematic event that word gets thrown around too much.
Yeah.
But that has, led up to, built up so that these all sort of fit together and then culminate with this ultimate film. I mean, obviously the Three Colors trilogy by Kieslowski is right out. I don't mean that.
Okay. I mean, the closest thing would probably be the Star Wars films, but
How?
because they've
We
spanned...
introduced something in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It continued on through Empire and Jedi.
Yep.
And then we released Blood-Eye, the fourth film in the series that was going to put a period on all the sentences. That
No,
didn't happen.
You're right.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
So that's not a good example. Do we have a really
Okay.
good example?
I don't think we do.
Justice League. That's well, you said no. Oh, there wasn't one.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever done anything like this before.
No.
At least we can't think of anything.
Mm-mm.
Why not? Aren't movies, even though the box office returns or the receipts get higher and higher, I hear every day about theaters closing, about studios closing, about consolidation, about how the whole industry's in a tailspin.
Yeah.
So movies seem on shakier ground than ever before. We've understood licensing ever since they sold Gladiator's pee in Rome. We've understood licensing. How come nobody's tried something like this? How come there wasn't I don't know, an Elliot Gould series of detective movies that came, this is the final chapter or something.
I don't know.
They've done things like this on TV.
Sure.
Because you watch, Falcon Crest or something like that, and it's this is the final season.
Right. The penultimate.
Penultimate means just before.
Oh.
Ultimate means. I know
Dang
pen
it.
sounds like it's
It
modifying
does.
it to be better, but it
Yeah.
means right before.
Okay. Never mind then.
Yeah.
Well, DC's kind of doing this with their TV shows.
Are they?
I don't know.
They just go on forever.
They do go on forever.
Yeah, and
but
then as soon as it's over, they just go, there's something even worse. We fixed everything. Everything's great. Barry screws it up and goes back in time, saves his mom.
Right. But they, do crossovers and stuff like that on the TV shows.
Yeah. Magnum and Jessica, what's her name? Did solve a case together.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not finding any good examples.
No.
At least you're not helping me find any. All right, well, maybe we'll just dive in then. Maybe we'll prepare ourselves and we'll talk about that next time.
Okay.
Because that's what everybody wants to hear. Phase 3. We've talked before about how I don't know how they delineate these phases. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. There continues to be more of a slip to it in that we need, or at least we've decided at certain points to introduce the thematic elements that are going to push us forward, but it doesn't seem to match up at all what the phases are, because you go from, the Avengers perfect end to phase 1.
Absolutely.
You build up phase 2, pretty good build up. You introduce a movie that has nothing to do with, it's just a James Gunn movie with superheroes in it, Guardians, and you go right into Ultron, and then, oh yeah, we got Ant-Man.
Right. Which seems like an afterthought.
And a lot of that was, because of delays in production and stuff like that. But it's like, all right, come back to phase 3. We're going to get our heads on straight. We're going to, Civil War.
Right.
A movie that should have been a middle chapter, if anything.
Absolutely.
Starts it off immediately.
Yeah.
What's up?
I don't know. And you think about it, and Ultron, and there's Ultron, Ant-Man, and then Civil War. So there's only Ant-Man between Ultron and Civil War. And Civil War, even though it's a Captain America movie,
right,
it's really Avengers 2.5. So why has it happened so closely after Ultron?
Because that's just what they did.
I know.
Because they didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Because they don't really treat these phase numbers as anything.
Right.
And then we talk about phase 3, and I call it the Return of the Jedi phase, but it really is when you think about it. Like, you start with something really important to the overall meta narrative, which is Civil War, and then you go right into Doctor Strange, side story, new character.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2 still doesn't really have anything to do with what's going on.
Right.
Except, I know, we share a ultimate antagonist in Thanos, but he's not even in 2.
No, he's not.
Spider-Man, side story, new character.
Yep.
Thor Ragnarok is where we finally start to kind of get back on the track a little bit in terms of things that are happening that will definitely affect what's coming up.
Yep.
And then Black Panther, side story, new character again.
It's true.
It's all Ewoks. It's Ewoks all the way down.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, none of this stuff has anything to do with what's happened before. There's no payoffs.
It's true.
And there was no setup in the Thor series. I mean, they're not really leading to anything except him being king,
right?
Which they managed to pay off. But yeah, so it's a lack of building of a foundation that leaves you with no house.
No, you're absolutely right.
House of Mouse.
House of Mouse.
House of Ideas.
Yes.
That's Marvel. Can I have my blood back?
Oh.
Want to talk about Civil War?
Yeah. Let's talk about Civil War. The Sokovia Accords happen. Avengers will no longer operate as private organization.
Why aren't they called the Laos Accords?
I don't know.
Because they are initiated by presumably.
Yes.
Because it's not like we've been working on these Sokovia Accords. Hi, I'm back. I'm William Hurt, by the way.
Yeah.
And then this is just a exclamation point on the sentence.
Right.
This recent thing that happened. No, they pretty much established that it's been like a month. They say she's watching the TV and they're like, the crisis that happened a month ago in Sokovia. In Laos.
Oh, Lagos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Lagos, yeah. So they should be the Lagos Accords.
Yeah. They should be.
Continue.
Because they're initiated by...
okay, continue.
It starts off and it's just Iron Man and Cap are at odds with each other. Iron Man thinks that they should be kept in check, and Cap thinks that they'll lose their freedom if they sign the Sokovia Accords, and they won't be able to decide when they can help, and that'll be a big detriment to what the Avengers stand for.
What do the Avengers stand for?
The Avengers, I think, stand for
beating up aliens
Well, yeah.
and neo-Nazis.
Yes.
And that's about it.
You're right.
That's something that I had not a problem with. Let's protect everyone. I guess that's a pretty good thing to have on your shield or whatever.
Sure.
But, yeah, well, like, what are they all defending? Why can't they just go, all right, fine, we all quit, and then they can all just get together, and make the new Avengers? They can just do it secretly.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, what are we going to do about these alien Nazis? Oh, they got together, coming down on Iceland. And then suddenly a whirlwind and a thunderstorm, and then a bunch of robots show up and just clean it up, and they're like, oh, well, that was weird.
Right.
It's so important for them to keep the Avengers together, but it's like they've kind of been operating with like unspoken oversight, and now they don't want to accept actual oversight.
That's true.
They felt like they had a mandate, but they didn't. They just were kind of doing this on their own because Tony Stark is a Randian, basically, and now somebody's like, hey, we know that you guys are blowing things up, and we wish you'd do it less. Right. And they're like, well, screw that.
Exactly.
Is that the most American thing ever? Woo! Shot an eagle out of a firework.
Oh my gosh.
Threw a ballot.
It kind of is the most American thing ever, but
well,
it's
your
also a little
recap has collapsed already, so let me just back up and do this. You forgot the most important thing.
What's the most important thing?
Mission Report, December 16th,
oh, you're right.
1991. It's directed by the Russo brothers, and it was written, of course, by Marcus and McFeely. It stars everybody up till this point. Mm-hmm. The next movie will star everyone. It's made for $250 million, which sounds like a lot of money, but when you think about everything that happened in that film, that's kind of a budget.
Yeah.
They brought that in on budget. And it made over $1 billion, so we're clean. 147 minutes, and unlike Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you don't feel every second of it. And boy, kind of a sweeping movie. Yeah. I question if it's still Cap's movie. Yeah. It is. For a movie that contains all of the Avengers up to this point, pretty much every hero that's been in the universe up to this point, except for Thor and Hulk, it sticks with Cap. Mm-hmm. And you think that maybe that shortchanges Tony's point of view if we're really to have a civil war? Right. But I think the film kind of presumes that Tony's wrong. I think you're right. He's wrong in a way that we can understand and sympathize and, feel empathy for why he chose that the way he did. Mm-hmm. But I think everybody just basically assumes that he's wrong. Yeah. I think you're right. Because he wants to kill little Bucky. Yeah. And Tumblr's like, you stay away from him. So clearly he's wrong. Even though Bucky killed his parents. It wasn't you, Buck. Right. I mean, the guy had a metal arm. Yeah. And a lot of eyeshadow. Okay, well, I mean, it was you. Want to attempt to do a recap or at least talk about some of the things that happened in the film? Sure. So they all get visited by what's his name? You were just saying his name. Thunderbolt Ross? Yeah. We covered that. Okay. Move on. All right. So some of the Avengers decide they're going to sign the Sokovia Accords, and some of them decide they're not going to. Right. And it's Sharon's fault. That's where it splinters off. Yeah, because Agent Carter, she passes away. Right. And at her funeral... Cap's at his lowest. Yep. Sharon makes a speech, which is a quote from Mark Twain, but I'm pretty sure he meant sarcastically, which is, nah, screw you. Right. I'm right. I'm not going to compromise. Right. And so Cap's like, I'm not going to do it. And then the Avengers break up, and they're weakened, so when Thanos comes to Earth, he can take over easily. Yeah. Sharon Carter ruined Earth. It's all her fault. Dang you, Sharon. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, continue. So... then they war, but civilly. Yes. Then they have the huge fight at the airport, which is the iconic set piece of Civil War, because you have both sides coming together to fight. That's how a war works. Yeah. And it's civil because it's among the Avengers. No, it's not. It's not. No? No. Oh. That's not what a civil... I mean, it's civil in terms of a state.
they're fighting against each other.
A country, a city, a something, a body that, What's so civil about war anyway? And then that fight goes well. And everything works out.
Cap and Bucky get away. Widow helps them get away by shocking T'Challa. And she says, I told you I'd help you find him. I didn't say I would.
Would that work? Having seen Black Panther 2018?
Yeah.
Would that even work?
I feel like it would. His suit is bulletproof, but it's not like shockproof.
You think vibranium can't also resist electricity?
It could resist it, but it doesn't mean that it's going to stop it.
If the slickback guy, if Crossbones or something can just go, that doesn't hurt me.
Right.
You're telling me that Black Panther can't resist that?
Well, I guess it does seem a little weak.
All right.
But
where do they go?
They eventually go to Moscow. Siberia. Excuse me.
Yes.
Because that's where the other Winter Soldiers are being held.
Yep.
And what's his name? Evil bad guy.
Wow.
I can't remember his name.
That's not good.
No.
You have heard that he's the best Marvel villain.
Zemo. That's his name.
Yeah, you had to look it up. That's not good.
Yeah. Zemo is on his way there, and they're trying to stop him because they think that he's going to awaken the Winter Soldiers and have them create he said he wanted to watch an empire fall.
Yeah.
But they get there, and he's shot them all in the head.
No.
He's basically there to show them
recap
a video.
Every single second. Recap.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Of
audio assisted reading description of the entire film.
Okay, sorry.
Cap scratches his nose.
He's basically there to show him a video of Bucky.
Still doing it.
Sorry.
Yep, they all fight because Bucky, as you mentioned previously, under the effect of his brainwashing, killed the Starks.
Yes.
Which is a big retcon, both in the films and the comics, although it's not in the comics. And so, because we have to have a fight, Tony suddenly goes kill crazy.
Yeah.
And decides to try and kill, even though he wanted everybody to be under the rule of law. But now he's going to... So his cause never was worth anything because apparently he didn't believe in it, and he's all just for himself. This says a lot about... And they all fight, and Bucky gets his arm blown off, and we're all separated at the end. That's the end. Tony sank. So this brings up a lot of things for me about the characters, which... It's how you make a good movie.
Right.
And I want to believe that they are following that by making good characters. Do you see this as the third film? It is literally the third film in a Captain America series. But I'm saying, do you see it as the third act of Captain America's story? If that story is him fighting for a cause, which is America, being disillusioned with that cause... Finding a new cause and fighting ultimately for himself and for the right, free from, being draped in a flag or under the auspices of some organization. Because he's just wearing a smart zip up at the end when he comes to rescue Falcon.
Yep.
And he walks up to the cage, and it's like, it's clear that you'd be able to see his face before he gets that close.
Right.
But it's a movie thing.
Right.
So you just see a silhouette. But it's like, there are lights coming out of Falcon's cage. You would just see the man's face as he walks up. But it's a movie thing.
Right.
Do you buy it?
I do buy it.
Because you're not going to get any more, because he's going to die.
I hope not.
He's going to die.
I hope not.
Yeah, anyway.
I do buy it. I think that he is a person who has strong convictions. I think that he really wants to fight for everybody's freedom. And I think he would want the Avengers to all work together and be together, but he recognizes that there's this strain, and he's okay with the fact that that they can't fight together right now.
So you agree with my hypothesis?
I agree that he over the course of these 3 films has changed, and
do you think you can develop a character by not developing it? Do you think that could be his character is he doesn't have a character or he doesn't have any conviction? Because this is also, we talk about how 1, 2, 3 Iron Man, every Avengers film is a Tony Stark film.
right.
Homecoming is like Avengers. I used to say it was like Iron Man, 3.5.
Right.
But it's really like 3.75 because this is kind of Iron Man 3.5.
That's true.
And Tony's thing is he's the futurist. Futurist, everyone. He
Yes.
sees all. Nice little inside joke.
Yep.
I don't know if it was his idea, Jeremy Renner's idea, but Robert Downey Jr. released a album in 2004 during his short musical career called The Futurist.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if that's a little dig, but it's a fun one if it is. But Tony is a guy who continually fails to see everything. He fails to see the implications of his weapons being used, period, around the world, but also in the hands of terrorists. He doesn't think that letting his ego control his business and, both... He doesn't think about, the sins of his father. He doesn't think about giving his terrorist his home address.
Right.
He doesn't think about what aliens are going to do. Now he's got PTSD or whatever. He doesn't think about what the Avengers work is doing around the world. And he overreacts to every single one of these things that he's faced with. Mm-hmm. He's unable to do that. His arc should be, if he's got an arc, or if it's this arc, that he overreacts, gets in trouble, and he learns to prognosticate.
Sure.
Or at least to be ready for things that happen. He kind of tries to do that in Age of Ultron because he wants to make a suit of armor around the world, but that's just deferring the responsibility.
Right.
That's just letting a robot, let you know when bad things are coming.
Right.
Isn't it more interesting, I'm saying, Tony Stark's arc than Captain America's?
I guess so.
Because now his friend can't walk.
Yeah, I know.
Because his friend had like L1 through L4 to S1 crushed. That's like half his spine. That's like his entire spine.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It just looked like he just fell down the ground, but
yeah,
the lower half of his spine is gone.
Well, I mean, if Vision hits you and he's
on the chest with a laser,
yeah,
then your spine is crushed.
I guess so.
It doesn't make any sense.
But Vision,
Didn't Spider-Man have a parachute?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
Vision doubts himself after
Vision
that
is
happens.
sadly getting no character development at all, and just in time for him to get killed in Infinity War. Yeah, I know. Remember when they did these little one-shot YouTube videos?
Yeah.
Where did those go?
I don't know.
Paul Bettany be down for... They're not doing Master and Commander 2 yet, so he'd be down for those, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get his wife to be Karen in it or something?
Yeah.
Anyway, are we saying what we want to say about the movie?
There's an awesome...
I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about these little things because the entire thing is... it's 147 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like 2.5 hours, and you're not bored. And they've got this thing down. Quippy, still quippy, but not like Age of Ultron quippy.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got this thing down of the micro-characterization.
Yep.
So the way people react to things, the way they react to each other, the little things. You get a longer scene, which is still really short, where Cap and Bucky, we've been waiting for these two. When's he going to track him down? That's the whole point of the end of Winter Soldier.
Right.
Civil War. Do you know me? They just meet each other in an apartment.
Yeah.
And it lasts about 38 seconds.
Yep.
And then the Stasi jump in.
Yep.
And so that's like real fast characterization. But from then on, you have to just boom, 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 boom. The way they fight, will characterize them. It has to, because they're fighting most of the time. Mm-hmm. So Bucky's throwing guys off of ledges, and Cap's catching them. He's like,
seriously?
You're making it tough for me, man.
Yeah.
Or later on, like they're trying to stop this weird cat guy at any cost, and now the fight's over, and he takes his helmet off, and it's the king of Wakanda, and they're like, Your Highness, like there's, these are respectful men, who acknowledge each other, even though you come at me, I'm going to drop a overpass on you,
right?
Just these little things like that. Like that's the kind of Marcus and McFeely understand these characters, and I think the actors and the production understands these characters enough that they don't have them doing things that don't make any sense.
Yes, I would agree with you.
Like you get in DC movies. That's another show.
It's a awesome fight scene in Bucky's apartment building that moves to an awesome car chase.
Is the thing that Bucky had? Yeah, well, it's a foot chase.
Yes,
they do a foot chase. That's a car chase.
Yes, exactly.
That becomes a. Let me grab your motorcycle while it's driving. And now it's a motorcycle chase. Bucky's he's a super soldier, right?
Yeah.
Right?
He has to be.
In the comics, he just has an arm and he's trained really well.
Yeah.
But they gave him some juice at some point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make that clear.
I think so.
Because he's like outrunning cars.
Yes.
Like if Captain America wants to 40-yard dash you, he's going to win.
Right.
But Bucky's like getting away from them. So
yeah.
All right, just checking. Tony made a holodeck.
Yeah, Tony made a holodeck.
Star Wars made a holodeck, basically.
Yep. At the end,
do you think that? Oh, sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
This is connected to that. Do you think that will come back in the comics? It's actually a long story because right after Civil War was Secret Invasion, where you found out that a lot of the players in Civil War that were fomenting, the conflict were Skrulls.
Okay.
And you think, oh, this is perfect. Everybody hated what they did to Tony Stark. And Tony Stark was the one guy that wasn't a Skrull the entire time.
Okay.
But then later on, his brain kind of gets screwed up and he has to reboot himself and he's kind of a different person, which is another comic book way to get out of him paying for his sins.
Mm-hmm.
He invents the BARF. I can't remember what the acronym means.
Yeah.
And he talks about how later on he's like, oh, my head hurts. I've got an electromagnetic headache. Are they planting seeds for some kind of dementia or some kind of technological craziness?
Maybe.
That can explain his erratic behavior? Or is he just a guy who is all about being in control, who has been completely out of control of his life for the last 10 years of his life?
Oh, gosh.
Maybe it's that.
It could be either one.
Yeah. I'm just planting that. I don't think that'll ever come back, but just planting that seed. They did that. They said that for a reason.
Yeah.
Just like they said UFOs over Phoenix.
Yeah.
Does Captain Marvel take place in Phoenix? I'm trying to think of what
I don't know.
Marvel stuff is in Phoenix. Why say UFOs over Phoenix?
I don't know. I mean, Thor happens in New Mexico.
Which is not Phoenix.
No,
or
it's
Arizona.
not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Sorry, go ahead.
When they're fighting, Tony says that shield doesn't belong to you. You don't deserve it. My father made that shield.
Right.
At which point, Cap just
F you, take it.
Yeah. Exactly. Which was kind of surprising because that's, besides his uniform, was something that had kind of been Cap's thing.
Yeah, but that's what it's great because this is what, and we'll talk about this. We should probably move on, but we'll talk about this in connection with other movies, that a movie can hopefully, and this is a comic book movie for little baby children, but can trust the audience to get things or not and just enjoy shooting. He's big now. Tiny guy's big now, which was awesome. Whereas a comic book is a serial story planned to never end. Mm-hmm. You want it to go on forever, and you have to just keep filling pages. So if they ever came up with something this good, they would never shut up about it. They would recap it every week or month, and they would tell you in no uncertain terms exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in these films, you get at the beginning of the second chapter, The Winter Soldier, where Cap is going to have an existential Cap crisis. Batroc asks him, I thought you were more than a shield. And he says, let's see. They're talking about the fight.
That's true.
But really, we're going to find out if he's more than America, if he's more than a soldier under service of higher authorities.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the movie, he is not. He is more than a shield. He gets rid of the shield.
True.
And he's going to keep going. And he does a good job because he cleans out that prison with no shield.
That's
At
true.
the end of the movie, he rescues all the Avengers. We don't see it. Would have been awesome. That's a good YouTube video.
Right.
But, we probably should bring it home because we got a lot more to talk about.
Okay, real quick, I got the Stan Lee cameo. He's like, "Are you Tony Stank?" And he's a FedEx driver.
Yeah. Only cameo that's referenced in another movie.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
We'll get there.
And then my haiku.
Okay.
Cap versus Iron Man. Quite a fight. Nothing seems all right. No compromise option.
Nice. The blue laser count is 0. There's no blue lasers in this
All
because
right.
we have evolved past that.
Okay.
I thought you would have like a scattering of thoughts, so I've got a scattering of thoughts
Okay.
to go with all the thoughts I already said.
All right.
I like that they've managed to fit Red Wing in somehow.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Although I think it's ironic. Again, I thought Iron Man is supposed to be the Transformers of Marvel movies, but there's a lot of military stuff in. We keep talking about wanting a S.H.I.E.L.D. movie. We had it. It's the Winter Soldier.
It is the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
But I like the fact that they put a drone on Sam. Sam's already kind of like a manned drone.
He is.
So we put a drone on your drone so you can drone.
Yeah.
Exhibits like getting real hard. I also like how like Falcon's like counting down all the guys that he beats up or whatever.
Yes.
And then Natasha's late for some reason, and then she gets there and takes out like a dozen guys.
Yes.
And is not counting at all.
No.
She just takes out 20 guys by herself.
Yep.
It's not 20, but it's a lot.
I love that Bucky and Falcon don't get along. It's just
See, but they
it's
don't beat it to
comedy.
death though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can we'll hit that that's the joke in this scene.
Yep.
Lighten it up a little bit.
Yep.
I do like too how we talk about quipping too much, but they line up some jokes and they come so fast but they're not. You don't have to sit and they're not super hilarious, and you don't have to stop everything to go, "Oh, look at this joke!" Like when the Flash fell on Wonder Woman's boobs. Let's stop
Right.
for 20 seconds and sell this joke. It's like that. We could have gone right back into what we were doing after that.
Right.
And the whole fight with them and Spider-Man in that thing is great because
Yes.
Spider-Man hits Falcon with the web, and then he's like, "Oh, those wings are really cool." And he's like, "Is this coming out of you?" Like the web. And he's like, "Oh," he's giving him tips about his flying, and he's like, "I don't know if you've been in a fight, but you're not supposed to talk this much." And
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, well, I'll just beat you up." And
Exactly.
then Winter Soldier comes in, and then they do the, "Oh, I hate you," or whatever. Yeah, it's just like bam, 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 real fast.
Yeah.
These guys were on Community.
Yeah.
There's a notebook in this, but it's not for writing down Thai food. It's for controlling a Winter Soldier.
That's true. It's a red notebook with a black star
Yeah.
because it's
Russian much?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Soviet Russia, moleskin you.
Yeah.
I'm starting to figure out now. They've just been peppering in references to Wakanda, not having an idea what they do with it. But
Yeah.
you can kind of it's like the blue meth. It's like the blue stuff that makes super soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And we already talked about that. They made it blue in First Avenger. They didn't know that the Kree were going to be blue in the TV show.
Yep.
And have that whole thing. And so they just it just worked out because it was going to be derived from Kree cells or whatever. It's the same thing with the vibranium thing. And like Community, where they have the 3 Beetlejuices over 3 seasons and then Beetlejuice shows up, it kind of works backwards because I think I figured out now that the vibranium that Claw has in Age of Ultron, he
Yep.
stole from Wakanda.
Yep.
That's clearly it's a king's ransom worth of vibranium.
Yeah.
But now we learn in Black Panther that the people know about Wakanda, but they think they're backwards. So they must think that was all the they spent years mining this vibranium and they have this, maybe we can sell this in a market. We are very backward people or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then it's this big tragedy because Claw stole it all from them, and it was stolen and made to use or made to create Ultron robots or whatever.
Right.
But it's Howard Stark has some in World War II for some reason, and then
Right.
and then Bruce Banner's talking about Wakanda and Age of Ultron.
Right.
But it's I don't think they knew what they were doing, but it it's plausible. It kind of fits if you follow the storyline of this vibranium shipment all the way to Black Panther.
Yeah.
If we ever get to Black Panther ourselves. Annie, this is it. You didn't do your plums thing at all.
My plums thing? What do you mean? Oh, yes.
No, it looks like you need some plums.
I guess I do. Yeah. So supposedly, like, plums make your memory better. Says Tumblr. Because the Winter Soldier is out buying plums, and when he finds out that he supposedly killed a bunch of people,
maybe just a fruit vendor.
It could be.
He's just buying fruit.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's winter. It's a winter fruit. It's a stone fruit. That's what they had.
That could be too.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll try it.
Okay.
We'll do some clinical trials. I like how they do this whole thing. They're chasing Bucky through the underpass or whatever, and then War Machine shows up, and all these cops show up, and it's like, congratulations, you're a criminal or whatever. I'm gonna take you to prison. And then Sam folds the wings and comes in, and he gets through the perimeter because he's like, hey, I'm with them, and he walks through the perimeter. It's like, you're not a very good black man.
Why?
This is racially charged. If you see a bunch of people all raising their hands, it's like he walks up, he's like, yeah, I'm a criminal too. Take me to jail as well. Shouldn't you be like, getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. Where's my hoodie? Where's my hat and sunglasses?
Right.
But he's just like, yeah, I'll go to jail. Let's go.
That's true. He is.
Just because he needs to be there later on.
He's so loyal to Cap.
Well,
that he doesn't think about himself.
Yeah, maybe he didn't think about it. Why does Wanda dress like a webcam model?
I don't know.
Why did they just decided that was her look?
Apparently.
I'm going to dress like goth chick, but like neo
slutty
21st century goth chick.
Yeah.
It's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
It's like a decision that Joss Whedon made, like when he was tired and horny, like 4.5 years ago, and we've just stuck with it. We've just stuck with it. We're gonna move forward.
It's somehow worse than like Black Widow's cat suit, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What, you like or don't like the cat suit?
I like the cat suit. I think it's more revealing than Black Widow's cat suit.
Oh well, yeah, definitely is.
So
also wear a tank top or something.
Yeah.
Under your short jacket.
Short red jacket.
Yeah, but make sure that it like deep plunge.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give her. She actually gets a costume.
Yeah. That's
like a leather. Not really a bustier, but like a leather like tunic or whatever. And it's mashing.
Yeah.
It's mashing.
Mm-hmm.
They're bumping into her chin.
Yep.
That was fun. They keep Bucky in a thing that says D23, and isn't D23 Disney's like online service type thing for kids? It's like their Club Penguin or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, my last thing, and then I guess we can. Well, this is a weird way to bring Spider-Man in, but it's all we got.
Yeah.
Also, did you think that hurt the movie? Or is it just so exciting? Actually, you know what? I think I'm answering my own question. I think it's brilliant because the movie doesn't need to be this long. Say we cut out Spider-Man. The movie loses nothing, except Spider-Man's awesome, and you want to set him up.
Yep.
And so we bring him in. And so we have this like 15-minute thing in the middle of the movie that anybody would say, cut. Why is he suddenly going off somewhere else?
Right.
When we're trying to get to the end of Act 2 here.
Mm-hmm.
But you make it, but we're introing Spider-Man, and it's like, fine, do it.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. All right. Then we work that out.
Travel doesn't make sense in this movie.
No, it doesn't make sense.
That's the last thing I'm going to say because they go all over the place and it takes them no time whatsoever.
No time whatsoever. Everybody's talked about how his plan doesn't make sense. Zemo's plan.
Yeah.
Here's what doesn't make sense. Don't put a river through your secure facility. If you have a secure facility, it looks real neat architecturally to have a skyway.
Yeah.
But if you've got walls and a cordon and like doors, I assume, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a river's just going to run through it. So if you crash your helicopter in the middle of your prison, people are just going to swim out.
Yep.
And they do.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think it's kind of dumb that he kills the Winter Soldiers, personally.
Well, yeah, me too. But do you really want... I mean, it was clear from... If they had cast... What if it was 2 more Winter Soldiers?
Right.
And it was like... Carl Urban and
Dolph Lundgren or something.
Yeah, or Charlize Theron or something like that.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
It was just 5 stunt actors that was like, oh, they're all Not important.
I know.
Yeah. A little flaw. A little tiny flaw.
Yeah.
Rating. Right now. Go.
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Whoa. Where's the other 5? Or 0.5?
I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. So I'm just going on feels here.
I aggressively overrate these, and I'm going to go 5.
Okay.
I still like Winter Soldier better.
Yeah.
But when you think about all the elements that they had to juggle, the fact that nothing... I was looking at... Because we have a HD TV, watching it in Blu-ray, and we were watching the last part when they're in the missile facility in Siberia or whatever, and things are falling over and crashing, and it just all... Some guy spent 18 months rendering that metal column and all the pipes on it as it fell over, almost hitting Bucky. And it just looks perfect. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could never... The one thing about... People always want things to be real, and the one thing that's never going to be real is your view of this. Because your view is a looming thing crushes you and you're dead, and you can't tell the story to anybody, you're dead.
Right.
But we see the thing falling, and there's like this rotating camera, that's at 30 to 35 feet off the ground. And so it's always going to feel unreal because we don't see things like that 6 feet off the ground. So.
That's true.
But forget all that. Yeah, it was great. A good fun.
Yeah.
All right.
It's good.
Although one note for Marvel, don't use modern rock songs to make jokes. That doesn't matter.
Like what?
Left hand. Is the left hand's free?
Yeah.
Because it gets blown off.
Oh, yeah.
Unibeam.
That's true.
Your left hand free. Okay, good one. Really?
I don't know. He's going to get Spider-Man, so I wasn't thinking about it.
Anyway.
Distracted me.
They play it right at the end after you see him with one arm, no left hand. Doctor Strange, 2016. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these films.
There are a lot.
Next year we'll be doing Phase 4, and it'll be 18 films, and we'll be halfway through Phase 8 already. Or something. It's directed by Scott Derrickson of, I guess, Sinister fame? Sinister?
Yep.
And written by John Spates, who's written a lot of stuff, Scott Derrickson himself, and C. Robert Cargill, who also wrote Sinister. And it stars Swizzlestick Cinderblock.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
And it cost $165 million, made $677 million. So not a blockbuster smash success. But since they spent $100 million less, I think they didn't think it was going to be.
Okay.
So it all worked out. My turn. Dr. Strange. Dr. Stephen Strange is a world-class surgeon, specifically in the field of neurosurgery. He's the best in the business, and he knows it. And he won't shut up about it. And he has a horrible, extended, detailed, slow-mo in the right parts car crash that was directed by a horror movie director where his hands are shattered.
Yep.
And he can't operate anymore. And this destroys his life because
surgery was his life.
It's a movie, so he can have that one dimension of his character. There's nothing else that he did with his life. It was just surgery.
Yep.
And he goes to Nepal off a tip that he hears that there are healing powers there. He goes to a monastery. Turns out it's not the powers that he's looking for, but it's something else. It's cosmic awareness. And he's brought in by somebody who's Celtic. I guess, whatever that means.
Yep.
And bald. And he is initiated into the mysteries of Kamartaj, where he is recruited to fight Hannibal.
Yep.
Who wants to bring the Dark Lord Dormammu to Earth and basically destroy it to sell it short. And he has to defend it. And he meets a guy named Wong, played by a guy named Wong.
Yes.
I hope they introduce Wong's brother, Bob Wong, played by B.D. Wong, in the next film. What'd you think of Doctor Strange?
I thought it was okay. It was not my favorite film, to say the least. It's the first time, quote unquote, magic shows up in the Marvel Universe. Although Thor does say that... I
still don't think it's magic.
You still think it's magic?
No, I think it's not magic.
It's not magic?
No, they do a scene where Tilda Swinton's like, old sorcerers learn to harness the powers, of the universe to hack the... energies that are there. Some call them spells, but if you don't like that, that's fine. And it's like, all right.
That's
So
true.
it's magic, I think, in the same way that the Infinity Stones are magic, which is to say that they are science that we don't understand.
Right.
Even though they won't stop referencing magic
Yeah.
or like saying that things are magic, because there are a couple things that happen in Asgardian type stories in the films that are like, well, if that's not magic, then what is it?
Right.
And like, what's the fire that resurrects all the zombie soldiers?
Right.
It's magic and science are one and the same. With our bilge snipes. All right.
Right.
Well, then what is that? Or what magic or what energy force refills his beer glass when it's empty? Come on.
I know.
And then in Spider-Man Homecoming, they just say Thor's magic belt.
Yes, they do.
So, which I'm pretty sure is just a throwaway line. But anyway, that's talking about different films.
Yep.
So, magic.
Magic.
What'd you think about the inclusion of magic? How do you think it
Um,
changes the game?
Well, I think it changes the game because now we have
Yup, yup.
Mystic. Yup.
Yup, yup.
Ewoks. Now we have Ewoks.
Well, this is supposed to be the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, now we have magic in the world and we have mysticism. And we have things that we can't understand, that we don't, we cannot explain.
This certainly doesn't delve into those very much.
No.
I don't think.
No.
This movie is much more preoccupied with the idea of time.
That's true.
Literally, because it is revealed in this movie that the Eye of Agamotto contains the time stone and allows
Yes.
you control over time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about time.
Yep.
Strange himself has a lot of watches,
Yes.
which is a representation of the fact that he is the master of his own domain and he is in control of his life and it can be what he wants. And here's the thing, and this is my big criticism of the film, and this has to do with something I mentioned earlier, and maybe I'll mention it later if I remember, which is that I didn't like this much when it came out. I didn't hate it, but it was another like Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was another, they made a lot of choices that are like, why did they make that choice?
Right.
And I watched a YouTube video that I want to say explained. It explained how it all fits together. And I was like, that's really great. That's not how I felt when I watched the movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't think a movie succeeds if I have to watch a YouTube video that goes along with it. But the
No.
video talked about how, of course, it's all wrapped up in his identity, like him being a surgeon and being on top of the world and being like, a master, if not of time, of his own time. And he loses that ability, shown by the fact that he can't write his name. He's literally lost his identity.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, or maybe you just want to show that his hands don't work still. Right. And then he goes through everything. He gains this ability to literally control time. He never uses it on his hands.
That's true.
And we talk about subtlety. Maybe a character saying you could have healed your hands or something. Like, why doesn't, if an apple can come back with the bites or whatever, why doesn't he just use it on his hands?
That's
The
a
answer
good
is
question.
because he's a hero and he's not concerned with that. He's more concerned about learning these new mysteries and also beating Caecilius. But
Yep.
so we've got all that, and then he finally learns, at the end that it's metaphorically again about time, but also the fact that he's been the person who saves other people, but now he can continually sacrifice himself. He can sublimate himself and surrender to the fact that time is perverted and doesn't exist here. He's kind of letting go of that because he was the guy who had all the answers, but now he's just like offering himself in order to solve this conflict, which is something that the old Strange never would have done.
Right.
And it's like, that's all great. That all makes a lot of sense. YouTuber pot magic smoke 59 or whatever. Like, why didn't I get that when I watched the movie?
Yeah.
Because you
Good
made
question.
too many Beyonce jokes. They do the one thing in this movie that, speaking of Beyonce jokes, that I was talking about, I think in a personal conversation we were having.
Okay.
I don't think it was on a show. But if you're going to have a character laugh in the movie at somebody else's joke, it better be a good joke.
Yeah.
Or it better have something to do with what's going on or their character or something.
Dramatically or
But he makes
something.
this joke at the end, and the whole bit is that Wong doesn't laugh at all, and then Wong laughs at this joke, and it's barely a joke.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really even consider it a joke.
No.
And Wong's like, ah!
Yeah.
He's just pissing himself.
He slays
It's like,
Wong.
I should be laughing too.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just look like a crazy person.
Right.
So,
Instead of thinking, why is he laughing?
criticism. This movie has been in development since 2010.
Wow.
Actually, that's not true. It's been in active development since 2010, but it was they acquired the rights in 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, long time coming.
Yes. And I think
And
that, confirms or at least lets you know that it's tough nut to crack.
yeah.
And I'm not surprised. So they should be commended, I think, for such a, I hesitate to use the watch metaphor, but I think that it runs together really well. I just think that it lacks the heart that the other films have.
Mm-hmm.
Discuss? Thoughts?
Well, Strange is kind of egocentric even after he loses his ability to do surgery. He's trying to think of how can he save himself.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really think of others until towards the end of the film. And even then, I don't know that he's necessarily doing an altruistic, I'm going to save everybody. Or
At the end?
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. What,
You
how
think so?
how is he not?
I guess he is.
I mean, my thing is, like, if you're a hero and that means saving people, I guess I don't care why you're doing it as long as you're doing it and your goals don't conflict with keeping people safe. So ultimately, I don't think we've ever, until Civil War, we've never really dug down into Tony's motivations.
That's true.
Tony can beat the dude at the end of the first one.
Right.
Or a parrot guy in the second one. And all of it could be, I'm Tony Stark, you don't come at me. Or it could
Right.
be, everybody's going to love how cool I look when I do this. Like, we
Right.
never really get into why he's doing any of this until the third film, where he, almost loses Pepper, and maybe that shakes him out of his thing. And then in Civil War, he feels bad about the people that have, died,
Yes.
because of collateral damage.
Yep.
And now he's having more emotionality. But compared to that, I think, and people have compared Doctor Strange to Tony Stark and Iron
Yeah.
Man, and Magic Iron Man. Cold Iron Man. There you go. I think that he's got more than that, don't you?
I guess
All
so.
my love, time will tell how much I love you, or whatever.
Oh, that's true.
Inscription and everything.
Yeah. That's true.
Because he doesn't know any of those Hong Kong people.
No, that's right. He doesn't.
Yeah.
And he saves them from Caecilius and
Amazing.
Dormammu.
I know. This is, you have to, I love this part. Instead of destroying an urban center, he's rebuilding an urban center.
Yeah.
We have a Man of Steel level of destruction.
Yes.
And then the climax of the movie is them putting the city back together.
Right.
Again, seriously begs the question why he just can't go back to Sokovia, for instance, and just
Make
turn
that all
back
good?
time. And no more Zemo.
There you go. Yeah.
Mission report, December 16th, 1991. How was your day, honey? Oh, everything's fine. Family's still alive.
Yeah.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah. I don't think they use him or utilize him as much as they should in this film.
No.
I don't feel like they give him as much to do.
No. And Baron Mordo, I mean, this character's been around for almost 60 years, so he's definitely had some good stories. But, in the origin, he was never a real character that you could hang a lot on.
Sure.
And they try to fix that by giving him a bigger role in the story and then, rear loading everything.
Yeah.
Next time, baby. Have we
Yeah.
learned our lesson with black character actors being like that in Marvel films?
Apparently
Hopefully he'll
not.
come back for the sequel, but putting a lot riding on him coming back and getting to pay some of this stuff off.
Yeah.
And it would have been a lot better to see him do that in this film
Develop
and then
that
not be
way.
the guy who's I understand that he's built up this trust in the ancient one and then he feels betrayed, but he turns like that.
Yeah. I don't buy it. there's not enough reason for
Did
him
you-
to shift sides and
Yeah.
become evil, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Did you appreciate, or was that mitigated or ameliorated? That's what I'm looking for at all by his suggestion of a troubled past. Seems like the Ancient One takes in strays, and that he was somebody who was a pretty bad guy. He was like a soldier or a killer or something beforehand.
I didn't really get that from the film.
It's in the film.
I didn't really get it from the film.
Well, I mean, they literally
So-
say it in the film.
Okay, I believe you.
But whatever it is,
It-
and also when you're talking about magic and you're talking about spirituality, specifically, you're talking about, like, we want to believe that two kids who helped a robot almost destroy the world can have their perceptions changed or just get ventilated by by a gun.
Yep.
He got shot with a Quinjet gun, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Avengers, do you need guns on your ships?
Maybe not.
You killed Quicksilver. But anyway, we accept that bad guys can become good guys.
Yeah.
Black Widow was a bad guy.
Yep.
Hawkeye was a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all morally ambiguous in our world, but they were
Right.
like literally bad guys in the comics. So we want to believe that a bad attitude guy like Doctor Strange can be a good guy,
Yep.
but that's because his soul was good deep down.
Right.
Is Mordo just a bad guy deep down? That he was like an alcoholic who's like on the wagon, and then one bad thing happens, and he's just back to his evil
I
ways.
don't want to believe that.
I don't want to either, but the
It's-
movie railroads him into that.
I know it's oversimplified.
Yeah.
It's-
Why is Benjamin Bratt in this movie?
I don't know.
You think he signed on being like, Doctor Strange, this is going to be great. I'm going to play basketball.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Okay. Great.
And then Mordo's going to take that away from me at the end.
Well, yeah.
I don't know why he's in this movie. Yeah, seems like he could have held out for something better.
Well, there are no Hispanic superheroes, so
Yeah, I know.
yeah. Well, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
What else? I think we probably can wrap it up. If we don't like it, we don't have much to say, right?
The Ancient One dies kind of suddenly, in my opinion.
And again, horror director. It
Yeah.
was like a Final Destination death.
Yeah.
We get it. She fell
Yeah.
and hit a thing.
Yeah.
I have to see her like
Would think
go through
she
the bus
would-
shelter.
I know. You would think she would be tougher than that, though.
Yeah, and it also comes at a weird point. I mean, it comes at the exact right point in the story, but all the circumstances are different. What if she was thrown into a different city that was not next to a hospital? Because
Right.
he's literally a doctor who, yes, can't operate himself, but we've established that Simple Man and Rachel McAdams
Yep.
are both talented doctors. We go back again to the only hospital in New York,
Yes.
the busiest hospital in the world, and she dies and they fail.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the reality is that she fell like 300 feet onto a thing, and she's
Yep.
she's probably lost the dark power or given it up or something like that. So she's not going to live. But we spent all this time building up how Strange trusts other people, and he gives it to Simple Man, and the lady dies on his table.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, like thematically, that doesn't work.
No.
If you have to pay that off and have him go like, oh, he's going to be really pissed at me because, but there's nothing I could do. And Strange is like, I know you did your best,
Right.
But it was her time. It's like, whoa, that guy's changed.
Right. But that didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen because we needed to see her die and then do a funny scene where the Thing wipes his tears away in front of the mirror and he has to kiss off Christine because she's gone for the rest of the film.
Right.
A lot of sighing.
Yeah.
Anything good?
I like how Doctor Strange takes library books out of the library. I thought that was
Yeah.
fun.
That was cute.
I also liked how the cape chooses him.
Yeah. It's Harry Pottery.
It is Harry Pottery.
Doctor Strange is a Mary Sue. Discuss.
I think so.
I mean, okay, we've talked about Mary Sue's a lot on this show.
Yeah.
And how that's not even the right term, and how the term itself is inherently sexist, but
He's Mary Sue.
an institution is an institution.
Yeah.
You know what we're talking about.
Yep.
And so for all the people that complain about Ray, I want to say Doctor Strange is a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
He can magic better than all the people can magic.
Yep.
And I get it that magic is about study and determination, and he's got those in spades. But still, what is it, 6 weeks before he's fighting a god?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
The Stanley cameo is when he's on a bus and he's reading a comic and he says...
He's not reading a comic. He's reading
not?
The Doors of Perception by Timothy Leary.
Oh.
A book that was said to have inspired Lee and Ditko and Kirby when they were creating the character. Ditko, not Kirby.
Okay. And he says, that is hilarious. And then Mordo and Strange come in on the window.
Right.
They land on the window.
Yep.
And he doesn't notice it or pay any attention to it.
Right. He's not perceiving very well.
No, he's not.
I think one of my more favorite Stanley cameos.
Yeah?
Yeah. Fun fact, Christine Palmer is the original night nurse
Okay.
character, who was I think a romance comic back in the times of Millie the Model. That was later incorporated into the Marvel Universe, and because she's a nurse and he's got a doctor in his name, they became an item for a while.
Okay. All right.
I think it's dumb. But it's not the fault of the creators of this film.
No.
Dormammu was kind of cool, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a guy with his head on fire, but if you want to have the idea of... It's kind of like the Beyonder, in that the universe is him and he is the universe.
Mm-hmm.
He's this other parallel dimension, so he just embodies it. And he only makes a face with two eyes and a mouth because he's talking to somebody with two eyes and a mouth.
Right.
And his face is like a ripple of the fabric of space itself. Like that's neato.
Yeah.
Peachy keen. And yeah, I bet Cargill like pissed himself when he came up with the "I've come to bargain"
Yeah.
whole scene.
Yeah.
But it's like a low key climax right after your big shit kicking action climax. So
That's
pacing
true.
wise, it's really weird.
That's true.
And it's okay to do that, throwing people a curveball, it's fine. But it just, when I remember watching the movie and getting to that point, I'd be like, what are they going to do now?
Right.
And they do that thing, and I was just too busy being sort of, rubbing my neck from the whiplash to really enjoy what is a good scene.
Yeah. That is a good scene.
Okay, we got to just shut up, right? We're done.
I got my haiku.
Oh, yeah, give it to me.
Magic doorways sing into existence. Doctor Strange is everywhere at once.
Ooh, is that true?
I kind of feel like it's true.
He again, the segment that sells a movie, would be the Goodbye Moonmen segment in this one, where he's going through all the stuff.
Right.
He's taking his tour of the multiverse.
Yep.
So we'll have to see if that was just a visual hand job, or he'll go to the hand universe, the hand dimension, where there's hands on everything,
Right.
in another movie. Not that specifically, but if he'll use those abilities to go to places where there's Ditko balls,
Right.
Ditko scapes. I hope so. The post-credit scene, which we talked about in Civil War.
I don't know if we did.
Do you remember what it is?
I don't think we did.
I don't remember what it is. In this one, it's just
remember.
you got too many sorcerers. You got a lot of sorcerers.
Yeah.
And there's too many.
So I'm going to take your power. And now you're going to be disabled.
Yeah. So it just sets up their own movie.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Yeah.
This will set up the next movie.
That's right.
Like how in the post-credit scene of Civil War, I can talk and Google at the same time.
Nice.
He gets his spider signal.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. All right. Oh, blue laser count 0.
Okay.
I think. There's no blue lasers.
I don't think so.
Okay, there's a lot of orange discs, which is the opposite,
Yes.
if you think of it, of a blue laser.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
It was made in the year 2016.
Yep.
And it is, but it came out in 2017. The spring of 2017. Don't just say, yep, I might be wrong.
Okay.
It's written and directed by James Gunn, and it stars everybody you know. It made $200 million, it was made for $200 million. Still, I mean, that's more than the first one,
Yeah.
but still, that's it.
Did we rate Doctor Strange? I don't think we did.
I was trying to get around it. What do you think?
I'm going to give it a 2.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I could never give it a 2.
No?
I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
Are you writing these down?
They're all in my head.
I know you, and I know they are not. So you said a 2, I said a 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 and 3.
Yep.
I'm not going to get below a 2 on any of these, am I?
I guess not.
You know how I feel about ratings. They don't make any sense. I could
Yep.
rank them. If you want me to rank them, I could go best or one I enjoyed the most to the one I enjoyed the least.
Sure.
Sadly, I think Strange would be near the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, for me too.
But I think it's a fine film, though.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't my jam, and I wanted something a little different out of a Doctor Strange movie.
Yep.
Something in a Jeffrey Combs. No, just kidding. Back to Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
It made $863 million, so not too bad. I
Not
guess
too
it's your
shabby.
turn, and I'm really afraid what happens in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It's a volume.
At the beginning,
Like an
they're fighting this monster for the Sovereign because they don't want it to eat its batteries. The batteries.
That is not important.
No.
You are giving a plot synopsis. What's the elevator pitch of Guardians of the
Basically,
Galaxy 2? You're learning on air. You're going to learn how to do this on air.
They run into Peter's father. He takes him back to his planet. His name is Ego.
He is the planet.
Yeah, and
You
he
are
is the planet.
Yes.
And he tries to win Peter over to his side. He is a celestial. He needs another celestial to help destroy the universe. He doesn't explain it that way, though. He explains it by taking over the universe and like creating power and all that stuff. Meanwhile,
And Rocket and Yondu have a side plot that the movie will grind to a halt while we
yes,
pursue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. The rest of the Guardians are Gamora and Drax are with Peter, and there's a new character named Mantis.
Character.
And they are kind of along for the ride. This is Peter getting to know his dad. And they also got Nebula from the Sovereign. So,
Yep.
but it's about family. It's about Peter getting to know his
Nope,
dad.
it's about family.
It's about family.
It's about family. And fathers.
And the family that you make.
Yeah,
As well as the one you come from.
right.
So,
Couldn't
I'm going to
afford
say
the
that's
Beatles,
it.
But yeah, would have been the love you make is equal to the love you take,
Yes.
break, fake the funk. All that's true. Everything you said is true. 137 minutes.
Wow.
And I feel like you feel every one of them.
Yeah.
And there was
You
a
kinda
lot
do.
of we all wondered when the first one came out, how much was Nicole Perlman, how much was James Gunn?
Right.
And now we know that the structure was Nicole Perlman and the character, the touches, the color was James Gunn.
Right.
And this movie is all character color touches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a structure for sure, but he's hit the point where, he made $1 billion or whatever on the last one. Nobody's
Right.
going to tell him what to do. And so we have an over 2 hour, 15-minute movie that's just like, oh, this could have been gone. Why is this in here? That joke he's clearly doing things that he thinks are funny, but being funny to an audience is like this balance between what you think is funny and what people will laugh at.
Right.
And there's a lot of things in there that are like, he's probably just pissing himself, but I'm like, all right, I get that it's a joke. Can we just kind of move through it a little bit?
Right.
There's some parts, they remain anti-heroes. I think
Yep.
you recoiled in horror, like Groot seeing Olorin being eaten by a pink thing when Rocket and Yondu team up to kill about 678 people, just conservatively.
Yes.
Which, they were all bad, but
still.
yeah. And it's set to the kid come over a little closer. You're my
Yeah,
kind of man.
and it's
fun.
played for comedy.
Yeah, if you set it to
And
the
it's
music from Sinister,
not
it would be
funny.
a horrible, horrible scene.
Yeah. I don't think it's funny, even though it's played
Taserface
for comedy.
It's funny if you know about the 90s era of comics and how stupid it is and how that is Taserface created by, I'm going to guess, Ron Lim And you know what? I bet Starlin created him, but like when he was like drunk, though.
Okay, sure.
And Ron Lim didn't know he was kidding. And so you've got this character, Taserface. And it's funny if you understand the 90s era of comics. If you don't, it's just like, why is he named Taserface?
Right.
I don't get it. But every single character in the movie that hears it goes, oh, it's fancy. It's Taserface. It's his name.
I know.
And it comes right back to if your character's going to laugh hysterically at something, it better be at least funny.
Yes.
Not hysterical. I can meet you halfway, but it better be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Initiated by a character who is famous for having a fake laugh.
Yes.
So
Rocket.
I just assumed that Rocket was making fun of him.
Absolutely.
Not that this was like a really hilarious name.
Yeah.
But no, we continue that on throughout the film.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also, previous to Yondu and Rocket killing all these guys, there were other Ravagers spaced by Ravagers. And it's like kids. Like, I thought this was supposed to be a feel-good
It's not really for kids. One of these films is going to get an F-bomb in. Which one? Avengers 3? Avengers 4?
I don't know. Good question.
Because I feel like they're getting more mature as we go. And honestly,
Yeah.
it's like the Harry Potter films. I think it's okay if they do. You know, if these were aimed at teenage kids, those teenage kids are hopefully have a job and are grown up and stuff like that now. And so I think it's okay to let the films mature along with the audience. But if you can get one F-bomb into a PG-13, somebody's gonna F.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, that's true.
Maybe Star Trek Discovery has poisoned me, in my opinion about that. Again, this, you said it's about family.
Yeah.
I think it's also about abuse
Yes.
and the abuse, how abuse shapes you.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't need a YouTube video to figure that out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I know what you mean.
Because it's got that theme all through it, and it doesn't land at the end because it turns out, oh, I really liked Yondu. Did you?
Yeah.
Like, for 99% of the time that you knew him, spanning years of your life, he was trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And, but he
And
cared
eat
about
you.
me. Yeah. And it sort of, in my opinion, it really sort of like lets your abuser off the hook,
Yeah.
which is not great.
No.
I'm not condemning it. Maybe that wasn't intended, but that's what makes that not land for me and made me not even apprehend that theme. Again, we had to watch a Lindsay Ellis video or whatever to like really get that that's what they were trying to drive home, but I never really got that. And I didn't think it was really necessary. I thought that we knew that everybody had it rough from the first film.
Yeah.
We got to come back and just make it worse. So I don't know. He's winking with his wrong eye.
I know.
The only thing I can think of, because that is not funny at all, and
No.
I don't understand why Rocket doesn't know how winks work.
I don't either.
All I can assume is that because he's just at the height of his self-destructiveness, he's doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
And then it still doesn't. It's not funny, but
No.
maybe the explanation is like he's trying to make people think he doesn't know how winks work, but he doesn't care if they believe it or not. Kind
Which
of
makes
like
no
when
sense.
Peter Quill goes like, "Oh, I didn't know how this machine worked."
Yeah.
We don't think that he thinks that his hand is a machine
Right.
that gives a middle finger,
Right.
but he's still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's Rocket's like just going like, "Oh, you guys aren't douchebags." Wink. It's like saying "wink" out loud sarcastically.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah. Still not funny.
No, it's not funny at all. You talk. I'm so glad they brought Meredith back. What an amazing presence she was in the first film.
Who?
Meredith Quill?
Oh, Meredith Quill.
Yeah, who?
Yes.
Exactly. Definitely needed her back
Yeah.
in the second
Well,
film.
and they needed to explain every single part of Brandy because if you didn't get it explained to you, you weren't going to get it.
Yeah, I was on James Gunn's YouTube channel, and I saw a video saying, "Hey, guys, so I just want to explain how Brandy is basically the philosophy of the character played by Kurt Russell in the film. You see, Brandy has a silver chain, and yeah. No, we got it.
Yep.
Now, if it's supposed to be, if he does that on purpose because it's supposed to reaffirm his mansplaining ego, the mansplaining planet.
Yes.
Mansplaining-ness, that's fine. But again, all that comes right out
Yep.
Right out of the film, we're down to 110. That's a
Yep.
pretty good length for a film.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Stan Lee cameo is...
Wait, you're at the end already?
No, I'm not.
Okay, we don't have to talk about it.
He says, anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, at that time I was a Federal Express man.
He's got a double cameo.
Yeah. And then one of the scenes at the end credit scenes was like, hey, wait, where are you going? You were supposed to be my ride home.
Are you auditioning for something?
Oh, gee. I got so many stories to tell. Oh, gee.
Are you auditioning for something I don't know about it?
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yep.
That's a thing that happens.
He's speaking to the Watchers.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in the last show, but that was a long bet.
Yeah.
They had no idea that bet was going to pay off.
No.
And they never will. Oh, I should save this for predictions, but I'll remember because I'm doing it right now. They never will, but I think it'd be real cool to have a Watcher show up.
Yeah, it would.
In Infinity War or at the end after whatever horrible thing it is that happens, because Gamora and all those guys aren't with the Wakandan people, so they must be off on their own quest, right?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, after everybody clearly loses in Wakanda and are all, beaten half to death or whatever, and they think that they failed, and then the Watcher shows up and one of the cosmic characters explains, oh, this is bad because these guys only show up at moments of great like catastrophe, or because they're the ultimate looky-loos, rubberneckers of the universe, basically. Right. So I think we don't have a chance here. This is really bad. But they look kind of stupid. Like it was clearly like a Halloween costume Watcher and not like a Kirby giant baby head man. Nobody was doing like a serious take on the Watcher. So
no.
I'm ready to wrap it up. I mean, we could talk about this for a long time. We talked about it on the show when it came out. Say something nice.
Something nice.
We already talked about how the humor doesn't work, and then when you push it into its own dimension of like, it shouldn't be cartoony. Like I have to buy a world with a flying arrow and blue and green people and a talking tree. But when they go through the hyper thing and they're bouncing between the stars and I hear a pinball sound effects, it's like, okay, this is Gremlins 2, not Gremlins.
Right.
This is too far. Oh, not that Gremlins 2 is too far. It's amazing.
When Quill calls Yondu Mary Poppins, and then Yondu's like, are they cool? And then Quill's like, yeah. And he's like, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yes.
That's great.
The line that launched 1,000, probably 100. Cosplays.
Yes.
Crossover cosplays.
But that was great. I also enjoy the part where Baby Groot doesn't get the bomb at first.
Yeah, but in the spirit of like, we're all screw-ups and we all fly by the seat of our pants. Shouldn't he have tried to push the wrong button at the end, but it was broken? Because he finally makes the right choice and we're supposed to feel like, oh, you did it,
Thank
Groot,
God.
you're learning.
Yeah.
But it also was cracked, and it looked broken. So what if he pushes it and it's broken? He's like, huh, shrugs and then just pushes the other one.
That's the right one?
Yeah. So it's just circumstance that, that we didn't all die.
Okay.
That just seems like a Guardians kind of thing to me.
Yeah.
They snuck a robot brothel into a Disney movie, so kudos to them for that. Howard the Duck comes back just because he was in the first one.
Yep.
There's a lot of bits in this that are like that. Baby Groot dances and he freezes in the exact same position.
Yep.
Every other character, he's got some way that he interacts with them, and we're just going to do the Drax joke again.
Yep.
Because it was in the first movie, and we're going to do it twice because it's volume 2.
Yep.
We're down to 100 minutes now. Just pull it out. Pull all that stuff out. Come on.
And Drax calls Mantis hideous.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but
it's
I think we've
like
gone into that already.
It's like him calling Gamora a whore in the first
It doesn't
movie.
make any sense. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Sorry, good stuff. Ben Browder is in it and should be starring in it because this is all based on Farscape. But I think it's cool that they shouted out. I'm assuming that's a shout out to Farscape. Or they shot it in Australia. Does he live in Australia?
I don't know.
Spent a lot of time there for
He might.
Farscape. Anyway. The Yar Root gag. We're supposed to be talking about good stuff. I love the competition between Peter and Rocket.
Yep.
Because if Rocket cared a little more, he could run the team.
Yeah.
And if Peter could build, a Hadron Enforcer, he wouldn't need Rocket.
Right.
I mean, they're like essentially equals in terms of shooting and flying and stuff like that. And then Peter's just, I don't know, something. He's got that whatever it is that people trust him.
Mm-hmm.
And Rocket's a tactical genius. So like they don't really need each other. But they both, except for one is like a ambulatory raccoon and the other is like a barely ambulatory man.
Yeah.
But they still fill the same position on the team.
Yes.
It's like having two Hulks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I like the fact that they are in competition with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And their quips get like real pointed and like mean. And it's supposed to happen. That's part of the story. But
right.
I just like how, I hope this new father isn't as bad as your last one, orphan boy. It's like,
right.
Jeez, wow.
I know. Well,
you are 2 feet tall. I could probably kill you. I could take you if I wanted to.
Gamora does say really early on, if your dad turns out to be evil, we'll just kill him.
Yeah, that was fun. I like that.
And it's like,
except for the fact that
that's
again,
what they end up doing.
It's all a woman's fault because she's like, no, listen to this guy that we can't trust.
Yeah, well,
now we'll get into the bad situation they're in.
Yeah.
Man, this was a waste. I've said before that, I mean, I like the character in the comics, but if you removed her from this film, you wouldn't miss her at all.
No.
So I hope that they do something with her in the third film. Why have the old Guardians? Just for fun?
I think it's just for fun. It's a wink at the audience.
And we're not going to get Michelle Yeoh and Ving Rhames together to do a old Guardians film, are we?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Whenever I see new characters, I just think, it's going to be less time for the ones I like. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel about that. I guess that's pretty much it.
Yep.
I don't know if it was just they thought of something or if it was to be some kind of comment, but the ships all being drones and then basically being in a big arcade.
Yeah.
Like the gold people,
cool.
They're like gold supremacists. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Are they supposed to be like Hitler Youth or just some sort of like... It's like that thing in a sci-fi story where you see like a bunch of like, we're perfect beings and we're all, live lives of like leisure, but we're highly trained and we have, perfect bodies and...
Right.
But we're really like vain and like that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Never mind. I got it.
Yep.
Never mind. Was Yondu's tongue blue in the first movie? He seems bluer in this film than he did in the first film.
I don't remember if his tongue was blue.
There's a Zune. We talked about that.
Yeah, that's
was
cool.
Chet. That is what's his name? His character Steve. What's his name?
I don't know.
He's a comedian. I don't have time. Was he just a human?
He might have been.
I guess like there's a lot. I guess the Xandar people just look human.
Yeah,
but I wondered if he was
like
like
got
an Earth
different
human
colored skin
because he's like drinking beer and. This is a waste of time. We got to move on.
I got my haiku.
Go.
The Guardians are family. They won't get torn apart by ego's flim flam.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah.
Why were the rocks yellow? Because the audience wouldn't understand what Pac-Man was?
Yes.
That's dumb. That's real dumb. 3.
I give it a 3 as well. But
I was going to go higher than 3. I wrote down 3.5, and then you agreed that was dumb, and it became 3.
I give it a 3 because I love the characters, even though I don't necessarily
and it's
love
not
the
fair.
story.
Yeah, it's not fair because I've given films that I didn't really like props for being well made, and I think that it is a really long, well made movie.
Yep.
3. Does the guy that wrote the Spider-Man theme get paid?
Oh, he should.
When they rip it off, if he's alive, when they rip it off for their 2017 movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. Because for them, it's just like, it'd be funny. But for him, it's like...
Payday.
What a check.
Yeah. He should get paid.
He should.
Yeah.
Well, this one's directed by John Watts.
Yep.
Nice. Good patter. Directed by John Watts. Written by... Jonathan Goldstein, John Francis Daly, John Watts, Christopher Ford, Chris McKenna, and Eric Summers.
Jeez.
6 people.
That's a lot of people.
Do you know who Chris McKenna is?
No, but I feel like I should.
He is a longtime TV writer guy.
Okay.
That doesn't tell you anything. But he was wrote some of the most famous episodes of Community.
Okay.
They all this is a problem. It's like Zepp songs. Community episodes have weird names.
Yes, they do.
So you can never remember them, and it doesn't serve the purpose of what a name is for, to recognize something.
Right.
But anyway, a lot of ones that you'd know.
Okay.
He worked on the Batman movie, Lego Batman.
Okay.
And he will be working on Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh,
so he's
cool.
a good addition to that. John Goldstein and John Francis Daly. John Francis Daly is the kid from Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, I was
He's all
going to
grown
guess
up now.
Yeah.
They've written on a couple things. They did Game Night.
Okay.
I think they directed that as well. And the other guys, I don't know. But 6! Is this the
people.
best film you've ever seen that had 6 screenwriters?
I think so.
Because those things don't go together.
No. There's a lot of fingers in that pie.
Yes. There's a lot of cobwebs on that metaphor, but yeah. Is it my turn? It's my turn.
I think it's your turn.
Mild-mannered teenage Peter Parker, teenager Peter Parker, it doesn't matter because we don't do any of that stuff.
Yep.
One day, he has to deal with a flying guy who's stealing stuff.
Yep.
And Tony Stark is his mentor because season 3 is all about fathers now, I guess.
Yes.
Getting to Black Panther in a little bit.
Yep.
And he's got to prove himself. He's a kid who doesn't like the restrictions that he's got, and he has to learn responsibility before he can have great power.
That's right.
Oh, did you just think of that now? This time we go the other way.
Yeah.
Usually he's got the great power and he has to maintain the responsibility.
Right.
Now he has to have the power before he gets the responsibility.
Yeah.
No, or the other way around. Remember, don't always say yeah, because I'm not always right.
Okay.
What did you think of Spider-Man Homecoming?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun film. I mean, especially for having been written by 6 different people. It's
low stakes.
Yeah.
Real low stakes.
Tom
What
Holland,
if we don't stop Michael Keaton from giving people Hydra guns? Like, that literally already happened.
Yeah.
It's already happened already.
It has already happened.
So the stakes are incredibly low.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where you're a kid and you go, why don't my parents let me go to this concert or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
This is a bad example because my parents didn't let me go to concerts and they had no idea what they were talking about. They were imagining Altamont, and I was talking about like a Alanis Morissette concert. Like,
sure.
What's going to happen there? Nothing. But anyway, now that I'm older, I can see that they were thinking about Altamont. So you understand more. And like Peter constantly is frustrated and upset that he can't do what he wants to do. And the parents, well, Freudian slip, the adults seem unreasonable until you realize what's going on in the film, which is they're thinking about other stuff. Mm-hmm. Tony's probably got another robot that's trying to take over the world. He doesn't care if Michael Keaton has guns. Somebody else is going to do something about that.
Yes.
And the entire film, Peter keeps sending messages and calling people and nobody's listening, and you get these little hints that they are paying attention. Like, when he talks to Tony Stark and he's kind of bawling him out, he mentions the churro lady.
Yes.
And that was secondhand. He got that from Happy. So
Yes.
that means that Happy's been listening. He's been contacting and talking to Tony about it.
Yes.
They are thinking about him. But Peter doesn't understand that because he is a child.
Yes.
And that is amazingly represented, I think, in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like these whiny kids. Why don't they just go back in the wardrobe? Like, you want to just all... I care about the kid in this film.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But also at the same time, I'm like, why don't you do that, you dummy?
Yeah.
Because he's a kid.
Yeah.
That's
He isn't
really well
knowing
handled
better.
by these 6 writers. 2 more and you've got 8. It's a spider number.
Yeah. The home video that Peter shoots happens during Civil War. That's kind of fun. I mean, it's handled really well. His BFF Ned finds out pretty early on that Peter is Spider-Man, and he keeps asking him a ton of questions, which is pretty funny.
Is this the first Marvel Cinematic secret identity?
I think it is.
Keep talking.
Okay. So Ned keeps asking him questions, and it just kind of annoys Peter, but he tries to answer them as best he can.
Ant-Man, kind of. He's got a helmet that covers his face.
Yeah.
But he keeps opening it.
Yeah.
So not that. Not that thing I just said.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I think that's significant, isn't it?
I think so.
But I mean, this is a Sony movie too.
This is true.
Not really, but it is. So, you can't divorce it from, but they certainly are liberal with it.
Yeah.
Like, spoilers for a movie that, I mean, literally everyone has seen, but like Aunt May finds out at the end of the movie.
I
Now,
know.
that's a fun little punch at the end of the film, but you've just ruined the universe of Spider-Man. The whole
Yep.
point is that Aunt May doesn't like that nasty Spider-Man.
Yep.
And so Peter's life is defined by the...
He's lying to her.
They've lightened up. Well, that's... Yeah. I was going to say Daredevil. And Daredevil also probably... I mean, he did beat Spider-Man to the screen, so technically Marvel's first secret identity in their quote-unquote cinematic universe. But that's TV.
True.
It's not TV, it's HBO. It's on HBO, it's a movie. They've lightened up the universe. He still deals with these things. He's beaten up and sent his girlfriend's dad to jail, and that means his girlfriend, who he abandoned at prom,
Yep.
has to move out of state.
Yep.
That's Peter Parker's life.
Yep.
It's not just that he gets beat up by the Vulture or whatever. It's that all of the people that know him think that he is, irresponsible and a
Yep.
coward. Not just a nerd. I mean, you can handle that.
Mm-hmm.
But they think that he's a really bad person, and he has to continue to live with that
Yeah.
because
he's keeping his
because
secret
of what
identity.
he does.
Yes.
Yeah. They have that, but it's been lightened up considerably.
Yeah.
And now they've gone and like, well, how long could you keep this secret from May? I don't know. Give it a shot.
Yeah, I know.
That disappointed me a little bit.
It disappointed me a little bit too. I mean, yeah, I see it's a stinger at the end of the film, but now Aunt May knows, and that's just like a huge well,
Although,
now what is he going to do?
in their defense, it's never been done. So
That's true,
give it a shot, I guess.
I guess. But it's in his first solo film. I mean, they didn't even really try.
No.
So
That's like
keep the mystery going for a little bit,
right.
guys.
That's a middle of second movie or end of Act 2
yeah.
from a trilogy perspective. type
Right.
thing. Yeah. What else?
The Stan Lee cameo is...
Are you out of things to say?
No, I'm not out of things to say.
But that's signifies the end of the bit.
Okay, fine. The Captain America videos are pretty fun.
Yeah.
There's one for fitness, detention, and then patience.
Let's swap.
At the,
No offense. I love Donald Glover, but
Yep.
let's swap him and Hannibal Buress change roles.
Okay.
What if Hannibal Buress is Aaron Weaver or whatever his name is?
Right. And then...
Hey, it's whack. I got ice cream in here, man. Because Donald Glover is such an energetic performer. I feel like a lot of the things that he do feels really real, but in this it felt like, hey, I'm playing the role of this brother that doesn't care,
Yeah.
Hey, man. And it was just like, well, you've got one right there. He's wearing glasses. He's the gym teacher.
Yeah.
He could have done that really easy.
Yeah.
Because Hannibal Buress doesn't care about anything. Yeah, but they were both good, though. And I like that thing about, because he's like, I just want a gun. Why are you trying to upsell me?
Yeah.
And one of the guns is an Ultron arm, so it's got fingers and a thumb that open when the thing shoots. It's like, somebody had a little money in the prop department.
Yeah.
They're thinking.
Yeah.
What do you think about the fact that, again, extreme stakes so low, just underground
Yep.
stakes? What do you think about the fact that the Vulture's not a murderous bad guy? He kills one person and it's
Kind of
clearly
by
an
an
accident.
accident. Yeah.
I mean, he does later on. He's like, I'll kill you. I'll kill your family.
Yeah, I know.
But he's not, I think we're meant to think that he's not, we're meant to sympathize with him a little bit.
I think so.
And he's not necessarily a bad guy.
Yeah.
In any other film, he could have been the good guy.
Right.
Peter Quill is a person who steals things from people
That's true.
and then sells them to other people.
Yep.
And he's a good guy.
Yep.
So what's wrong with Batman?
Yeah, I know. And
And
he's
Birdman.
kind of...
And Birdman.
Yeah, and Birdman.
Yeah.
He's kind of Robin Hooding it.
Yeah.
Stealing the...
Had his job taken away by the government.
Yep.
And damage control.
Yep.
Which is just a wing of Tony Stark Enterprises.
Yep.
It's all rigged. Fake Tom Hardy was right. And then he's gone from the film.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the Audi? It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
They have that specific scene at the end where, hey, check it out. My car's driving itself.
Uh-huh.
Pretty cool. Oh, I mean the Avengers facility, but it's like the camera's right on the Audi AI system or whatever, which it's a little late to try to extol the virtues of a real-world car with self-drive when Tony Stark's vehicles have been driving themselves since his first movie.
That's true.
Are you implying that Tony Stark works for Audi International or something like that? It's a little...
I don't think they
You're
are.
getting your chocolate and your peanut butter as far as your brand promotion goes there.
Yeah. Peter says at one point, I'm nothing without the suit. He says it to Tony, and Tony says, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Sony?
Yep.
Oh, I mean, yeah, right.
Tony. So, again, we're dealing with people being worthy of their powers or their tools, their suits.
Yeah. I like the fact that even Karen knows about the Spanish quiz.
Yeah, I know.
You know, Peter's just running right into this adventure of like hunting down these small-time crooks. And even the AI is like, did you do good in your Spanish quiz? Like, he's just surrounded by caregivers, and he's trying to get away from them all.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Usually I hate teens in movies, but it really resonates with me for some reason. Let's talk about the emotional finale of the film.
Okay.
Where he rescues himself from the building that falls on him.
Yes.
Clearly, very clearly, a reference to a moment from the comics, Amazing Spider-Man 24 or whatever it is, when he lifts the big thing that's on him because he's got to get the serum to Aunt May or whatever to save her life. And it's like a very famous moment that you blank look. You have no idea what it is. That's fine.
Okay.
You're not a 60s Spider-Man fan, but that's okay. That's a direct reference.
Okay.
And then when he looks in the water and his mask is in the water and we see half of his face and half the mask, that image is something that's in the comics all the time, is drawing half of the mask on Peter's face when when his spider sense goes off or when he's contemplating the fact that he has like a dual life and identity.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool, but for a movie that I'm
Overdone?
about to give a 4.5 to, it's real clunky.
Okay.
We stop in the middle of this fight that should probably continue. And to be honest, the Vulture doesn't go anywhere.
No,
he just sits on a billboard outside of the building.
Yep.
So when the giant air conditioner thing flips over, is he just not paying attention? Or does he, continuing with the theme of doesn't really want to kill Peter, he just wants him to leave him alone so he can rob these rich people? There's all these points where we could have gone back to the villain's point of view, but maybe the movie was afraid that we'd sympathize with him too much because Peter's still got to, beat his face in.
Right.
But if he was like, oh, good, Parker got out of that, I don't want to kill the kid. You don't write all this down. This is all just implied, internal monologue, but not internal VO monologue.
Right.
But instead he's just like completely oblivious to the fact that a 3-ton air conditioner thing just flips over on the spot where he thought he squished the kid like the bug that he is.
Right.
But good moment.
Yeah. It is a good moment.
You see that this kid, who is just a kid, acts like a kid. He's terrified.
Yeah.
But, is bravery beating up the bad guys or is bravery doing what you have to do when you're scared? We learn that he's got what it takes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
and he isn't just the suit.
A little clunky moment. Here's something else that's kind of clunky.
Okay.
Another set piece. I like the fact that they keep putting in Spider-Man in situations where he can't just swing away.
Yeah.
A golf course.
Yes.
The middle of the East River or whatever. So he's on the Staten Island ferry, and it cracks apart, and he's webbing it, and he's trying to pull it together, and it's like, oh, what a good metaphor for my life splitting apart, and the two sides of my identity that I'm trying to manage. But at the same time, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Does it work? Or is it a big sinking metaphor?
It works, but it is a big sinking metaphor. I don't know.
He spends a lot of time looking through windows and skylights.
Yes, he does.
People having fun.
Yes.
He needs like a. Well, there's an entire album, but he needs like a. He needs like a identifiable theme of when Spider-Man is watching other people have fun, but he can't have fun.
And he can't get along with them. Yeah.
Did you think that this movie was Hughesian, as in John Hughesian?
Kind of. I mean, it's kind of got the Hughes feel to it. I mean,
did you think this movie had a boiler in the backseat and was generating steam heat? I heard that. Here's something that's too far. Just showing Ferris Bueller on the TV while we're doing a Ferris Bueller. Hey, dog, Exhibit's back, and his erection has been going on for more than 4 hours. We put a John Hughes reference in our John Hughes reference. So you could... we got what was going on.
Yeah.
I remember when I was watching it, like right at the moment that I began to really laugh because I got what was going on, they showed that and I immediately stopped laughing. I was like, come on, movie. Come on. How dumb do you think we are?
Yeah.
But I've heard that attributed to it before and I never really bought into it. And then it worked this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like John Watts did Cop Car. And that's about it.
Yeah.
He's not done anything like this before. And I'm not saying he's trying to rip off Hughes, but the fact that there is life in every corner of the frame of this film, there are things going on.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's so much better than an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, because he just skates down the hallway, punches or dodges a punch from Flash, and then has a scene with Gwen, and the halls are empty, and this is a high school visually only.
Yep.
And in this, there's something going on. You've got the Thanks, Spider-Man. You've got the Channel 1 news things going on, and you've got chess. You've got like the kids, who are literally in the corner of the frame, and it just, okay, I'm in. It's John Hughesian. Like, I accept that. There's a little bit of that Waka Waka humor, but that's just what Marvel does.
Yep.
When the bits really work, then it's worth it.
Yep.
And somehow making Martin Starr the straight man to a bunch of kids' jokes makes the kids' jokes work.
Yeah.
I'm like, why isn't he telling the jokes? No, he's there to make the kids' jokes work.
Yep.
So it's like what I say about using the bell for comedic purposes.
Yes.
Like yeah, it works.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's time for his cameo.
His cameo?
Stanley's cameo.
Stanley's cameo? Okay. Stanley's cameo is, "Don't make me come down there, you punk." And then, "Marjorie, how are you? How's your mother?" And he's shouting out of a window.
Dead, I think, is how. Right.
Stop.
If Marjorie is the same age as Stan Lee, she's where I left her, Stan.
Stop.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to just, hey, I live on Long Island or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just supposed to represent, it's the closest to like Stan's actual life or something, or
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think they really thought
where
about it.
would you have put him? In a
Maybe at the crowd by the
he's on the ferry.
Washington Monument, or he's on the ferry.
I don't think it was built by slaves. Or he's the guard. So he's like, it was built by slaves. And no, that joke doesn't work unless the guard's black.
Yeah.
Because the guard's like, it was built by slaves.
Yeah.
That's a great joke. Thanks, slavery.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's a kind of a weird one. Blue lasers?
I don't know. No blue lasers?
No,
okay.
no, not really.
All right.
Vulture has a purple laser gun.
Yes.
But otherwise, that's it. There's no blue lasers.
Okay.
So we're learning.
Yeah.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
There is a magic belt count is up to 1 though.
Yeah. And a prototype for Cap's new shield, which I thought was interesting.
So he says it's the prototype for Cap's new shield, Thor's magic belt, and
I can't remember what the third thing was.
oh, but you're the one who's sitting saying all this stuff. I thought for sure you'd know. It's some other thing that has a huge implication. And
Yeah.
This is, I should hear fingers clicking because this is immediately when you could start looking this up, but you're not looking it up. So instead, you can cover while I look it up.
Okay, I'll say my haiku.
Thank you.
Suit lady is Karen. Ned is the guy in the chair. Spider-Man saves the day.
Guy in the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to be the guy in the chair.
That was great too.
Yeah.
And I liked how you didn't get the porn joke. So here's what the porn joke means.
Okay.
I can't find this thing. I hate it when people Google on a podcast, and I'm doing it right now. But there's something that it's three things. We got it because it's comedic. We got to get the thing and the thing and the thing.
Yep.
Oh, the new Hulkbuster armor.
Oh, okay.
Which I think these are just references, but they all have big implications.
Yes,
because
they
the
do.
first one is we're going to see the new Hulkbuster armor in
Yep.
Infinity War.
Yep.
Which we still have to talk about, so we got to get through the next thing. Cap's new shield?
Yeah, prototype for Cap's new shield.
His doesn't have a new shield.
I know.
There's
and why
one
would
shield.
Iron Man
It's
be
unbreakable.
working on it?
Exactly. That's why it's just dropped off. But Cap is going to get a new shield
Yep.
in Infinity War.
Yep.
But Tony won't have made it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of suggesting things, but it's not. Doesn't follow
And Thor's
thematically.
magic belt.
Thor has a magic belt in the actual mythology that he can't pick up. He can't pick up the hammer. See, the thing about the hammer is, Vision says, "Oh, it's very well balanced." No, it's not. The whole point of Mjolnir is that it's not well balanced. Like Loki disturbed the dwarf that was making it, the dwarves that were making it, and so it's screwed up. When you see a hammer like that, that's like a mailbox that would be metal. I guess a long time ago it would be stone. Supposed to have a long shaft. It's supposed to have like a shaft as long as you, right? Because
Okay.
you need that leverage to. It's like a sledgehammer.
Sure.
A sledgehammer with a foot-long shaft. That's not a good sledgehammer.
Okay.
That's worthless.
All right.
So only Thor can wield it because of how strong he is. It's a great weapon, but it should be usable by anybody, and it's only usable by Thor.
Yeah.
That turned into, in Marvel Comics, only him being able to pick it up because
Right.
of the enchantment on it. But in the mythology, Thor also has to wield or wear these gloves because it's like iron, it's magic. What am I trying to say? It's like red hot or something like that as
Okay.
well. And he has to wear this belt that doubles his strength, that makes him strong enough in order to use this hammer.
Okay.
But all that turned into only he who's worthy can pick it up because
Right.
of King Arthur and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think that's just something they dropped in. I don't think he's going to get a magic belt, but the first two
Yeah.
apply in some way.
Yep.
Maybe he'll get a magic belt
Maybe.
along with his axe.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. What's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'm going to give it a 4.5
Okay.
because all of my ratings are a 0.5 higher than yours. That's how we do this. Yeah, pretty good.
Yep.
I think it's pretty good.
I think it's pretty solid.
Okay, we're down to it. Here we are.
Yep.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need to talk about it very long
Okay.
because we just talked about it.
I know.
So let's do it. It's your turn.
Okay. Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot.
Did you think we were down to Black Panther?
I did.
Okay.
Here's how I forgot about Thor Ragnarok. There's no, aerogel. It's this new thing that scientists have created. That's like the lightest thing ever.
Yeah.
This sits on top of aerogel. Thor Ragnarok, 2017. It's too many of these movies.
Thor Ragnarok.
Directed by Taika Waititi.
Yes.
Or Taika Waititi, as he says.
Yes. Thor and Loki go searching for their dad. They find him, and then they also find their sister Hela. Hela destroys Thor's hammer, and when they're on their way back to Asgard, she throws them into different directions.
No. Hela, the goddess of death and
Yep.
the long-lost sister of Thor and Loki,
Yep.
comes to rule Asgard, and they end up on Jeff Goldblum's planet
Yes.
while trying to stop her.
Yes.
Also the Hulk.
Yes.
That is how you TV guide synopsisize a film.
Okay.
You're just like recapping and then these guys, and then sharks with chainsaws come. No. Just come on. People have seen this.
Okay.
It's written by Eric Pearson, who you don't know. Nobody knows. He's worked for Marvel in the past by writing some of those one-shots we talked about.
Okay.
So he gets called up to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And also Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost, who
Okay.
we've talked about before and are pretty good writers.
Okay.
So, yeah, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. It's a fun
we
movie.
Didn't know what we were doing with the first two, so screw it for the third one. And we ended up with a fun movie that cost $180 million.
Okay.
So now it costs less than a Guardians movie. And it made 854.
Okay.
About as much. I mean, little less than the Guardians one, but like ratio-wise,
Yep.
in terms of profit, beat it.
Okay. There's a lot of day glow in this.
Watchin. Yes.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this on the air? Yeah, we were just talking about it.
Did.
I don't remember if we did. No, I know this movie, but I like to give a little thing before I say the thing. You know, a little teaser, and then I give you the main idea. And the main idea is, finally, at the end of Phase 3, we're getting back to the actual meta-narrative, which is, I was looking for Infinity Stones. I didn't find any.
Yep.
And then Hela blows up Asgard, and then Thanos' ship shows up.
Yep.
That's all going to be important.
Yep.
And the fact that I don't have a hammer means I can't hit Thanos in the face when he shows up on Earth.
Yep.
So, bad news.
Yep. That's pretty much it. Thor is captured and given to the Grand Master. He is to fight the champion, which we later find out is the Hulk. He loses his hammer, but he learns how to harness his power.
Recapping.
Yeah.
Just recapping.
Okay.
This is Taika Waititi is the Aussie, or no, he's a New Zealander. Sorry, he's the Kiwi. Oh, forgive me. I think Aussies get madder about being mistaken for Kiwis than Kiwis about Aussies, or maybe that's backwards or not true at all. But anyway, he's the Kiwi James Gunn. Mm-hmm. And he has done what James Gunn has done, which is, thank you for your action figures. I know that you like to smash them together, but I'm going to put them in the Barbie Corvette, and we're going to drive into the sink, or we're going to take it off somewhere totally different.
Yep.
We're going into the attic.
Yep.
With all the other weird toys. Mm-hmm. And they should just do this with every character. Spider-Man should next. We'll send Spider-Man to Kosovo. We'll send the Hulk to a cooking class. We'll send just taking everybody out of what you'd expect and just doing something completely different has worked for everything so far.
Yeah.
And it totally works here. Mm-hmm. And I continually refuse to buy this thing that we all have decided, which is Chris Hemsworth is like this major comedic talent. I think he does fine. I think he's very pleasant, and he does okay with the jokes. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't book him, at the comedy festival or anything like that. Like, he's all right.
Yeah.
Are we all clouded by his beauty? Do you think he's really funny? Answer the right way.
I think he does some things really well.
Like flex.
Comedically. But I don't think he's a comedian necessarily.
No. We are so over time, so I want you to give me your 2 good things, 1 bad thing, and we're all done.
Okay. Gee. When Thor and Loki do get help, that's pretty funny.
Wow.
I know Loki hates it, but it's still pretty funny.
Mine is not just like Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum's great. We all are really enjoying his self-awareness in this phase of his career. But the fact that they introduced the Grandmaster and Marvel, 60s Marvel or Cosmic Marvel takes itself super seriously. These movies can never take themselves seriously. So instead they recast all of the Eternals or the cosmic figures as goofy Benicio del Toro and like goofy Jeff Goldblum as a Grandmaster. And so I hope we get the Stranger, and I hope we get like a bunch more cosmic guys who are all just aging character actors.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I actually saw some video with, I'll make it real quick, with Goldblum, and he said my brother Benicio del Toro.
Right.
And so yeah.
Well, one more good thing.
One more good thing. Hulk and Thor together. I think they're make an interesting team. And I really enjoyed them playing off of each other.
A good thing for me is that I do think that you need to at least somewhat take yourself seriously or your franchise seriously, or why should we care? But I like the fact that it was clear that YTT or the writers looked at a lot of the things that we know or assume about the MCU and just went, isn't that dumb? Or look at this. Why this?
Right.
Like the fact that Thor just keeps saying, sun's getting real low, sun's getting real low. Like we see Widow do that in Ultron, and it's not explained in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, don't talk down to the audience, but we get that like it's this some kind of post-hypnotic suggestion that they've implanted in Banner. You know, that will calm the Hulk down. And apparently, the Thor has seen Widow do this or heard her do it once, and so he thinks that's the magic thing that's going to make him not turn into the Hulk, like a spell or an incantation almost. So he just like keeps saying it. And they never explain it the way I just did because they're not beating it to death. So yeah, it's good. A bad thing.
Bad thing.
Thor did a bad thing.
I would say just being kind of blasé about Asgard being ruined.
Well, you took mine, even though I had another one. That would have been mine too. Yep. But did it ever do anything?
No.
Was it ever really worth anything?
No, it wasn't really like a character. Yeah. So.
My bad thing is, and I don't even like the storyline all that much, but they blew Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
We'll never get Planet Hulk.
No.
I don't really love Planet Hulk. I don't think it's all that great. But if we're going to take our characters and we're going to throw them somewhere crazy.
Yep.
Mark Ruffalo on a John Carpenter. Hey, on a John Carter planet, you know, it could have been a thing.
Yep.
Won't be one now.
No, it won't.
Let's do all the things. What's the cameo? Word
the
up.
Stan Lee cameo is now, don't you move. My hands aren't as steady
That's
as
right,
they
he's
used
cutting
to
hair.
be. And he's got these giant scissors hands that spin. And he's about to cut Thor's hair.
Yep.
And we're assuming he does so.
Yep. Well, there's no lasers.
No?
This is a really good idea at the beginning. And now there aren't any lasers.
Well, at the beginning,
And
there
I
were lots of
feel
blue
like it's
lasers.
down. Oh, I forgot. In Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or 2, there was 1 million red lasers.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of... Oh, no. Shoot. Rewind it. If you're even listening still, they've leveled up from a blue laser being the symbol of destruction and badness in these films. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 wages war on the concept of light. Light is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Because it's only ever described as light, the
Yep.
power of the planet. And so, yes, I think there is a blue laser because all light that is very blue tinged is bad.
Yeah.
So, yes, absolutely. This film, no. No.
I got my haiku.
Go.
No banner, only Hulk. Thor is excited to fight. Together they are supreme.
Nice.
Yeah.
They fight a giant wolf.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rating.
I'm going to give this one a 4 as well.
I hate that we are so in sync. I wish we were more Backstreet. But
Okay.
I as well would have to give it a 4.
All right.
All right, now we'll do it.
All right.
So it's the Black Panther, and this would be the shortest talk of all because we literally just reviewed this thing a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, Ryan Coogler, starring. He talks like this when he is on screen, and then you see him in real life, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
I'm Chadwick Boseman. Like, "Whoa, that's the best acting that you've done. Like, that's amazing. How do you do that?" And it's made a lot of money. It made. Well, what am I kidding? It's an understatement of all time.
Yeah.
On a $200 million budget, it made $1.4 billion.
Wow.
It's the number 3 biggest movie of all time. It was written by Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole, who is... he worked on The People vs. O.J. Simpson.
Okay. Who knew?
You watched the first episode. I know, I watched it with you. And we turned it off because we didn't like it. So anyway, whatever.
Yep.
It features a lot of people.
Yep.
And again, we've talked about how, are we going to actually start building up to Infinity War? How does this contribute?
It doesn't really.
Not at all. It doesn't even. Everybody thought that the last stone was going to be here.
Yeah.
In Wakanda, and it's not.
No.
It's a complete standalone film on the eve of the culmination of this entire thing.
Yep.
$1.5 billion.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. I'd be happy, but I would be like existentially despairing about the worth of my job if I was somebody like a producer for Marvel. Like Kevin Feige wears that hat because he scratches his head at how they're doing this, and all his hair is falling out. Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal.
Yep.
Let's real talk hashtag.
Okay.
How do we really feel about this film? Because we are down off the high now.
Yeah, it has, it's pretty good,
Uh-oh.
but there are some, issues I have with it.
Okay.
I think, it's not quite as strong as I originally thought it was. I feel like T'Challa is not quite as strong of a character as he could be.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was really excited seeing him in Civil War, and I thought he was well drawn.
Absolutely.
And then he shows up in this, and he suffers from it's ironic I'm saying this, but like white bread hero disease, which is just like, well, he's the hero. Like we take for granted that he is heroic. He's the main guy. And that means we get a lot of like fun side characters, but he's just kind of like, I'm a good guy. Oh, I wasn't being good 100% right. Now I'm being good 100% right. The end.
Right.
Like you don't really get a big shift for him.
No, you
he doesn't
don't.
get an arc like the literal
Killmonger.
white bread guy.
Yeah.
Captain America does in his films.
Yeah. I also feel like maybe T'Challa is not quite as strong as we originally think he is.
He's
because
really strong.
I know
what
he's
you're
like
talking about. Oh, I see what you mean.
he's really strong, but M'Baku like almost beats him.
Right, but if you're the king,
Yep.
first of all, can we talk about the politics of Wakanda?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be this like utopia
Yep.
that's a monarchy.
Yep.
Is there? I mean, you've got this. It's a monarchy.
Yes,
Because you've got the people that hang out with him who are basically just like the better dressed version of the council that Robert Redford talks to.
Yes.
Who are all the heads of their tribes.
Yep.
So it's just like a feudal system, right?
Yeah.
Is that cool, or is there any kind of representative
I don't
democracy?
know.
And then also, if at any time your king, good or bad, can get knocked off by somebody who just walks up, and
Yep.
then they're king.
Yeah.
Great system.
Yeah. I know.
Like, yeah, what?
It's not a great system.
But about the fact that M'Baku beats him, he's an ally.
Yeah.
You know, if Cap squares up against Iron Man, I want, Cap to win, but barely.
Right.
Right? He should be like an equal because he's a combat ally.
Right.
You wouldn't want him to like knock him out like a bitch, and then he comes in and saves them later, and you don't believe it because he got knocked out.
That's true.
I like the fact that he's a great warrior, and because he disagrees ideologically with Black Panther, it doesn't mean that he has to be like a coward or like a weakling or something like that.
That's true. I think that is good. I just think that
They have a
maybe
weird political
T'Challa
system.
isn't as strong as we think he is.
They remove the power of the Black Panther.
I know they do, but
A couple times.
yes,
It starts to get old.
it does.
Yeah.
And then Killmonger defeats him, and
To the
that's
point where
like,
you have him face up against Killmonger without powers. Later on, he faces him with powers, and you're like, well, what do the powers matter?
yeah,
It doesn't matter.
yeah,
It'd be one thing if Red Skull were to come back and uses the Cosmic Cube to like make Rogers just the scrawny Rogers again or whatever.
Right.
And then Steve has to beat him somehow in his
Scrawny
mini
form.
Rogers, his huge head body. But it's just like they fight without it. They're very powerful and skillful. They fight with it. They're very powerful and skillful. What's the difference?
yeah.
Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. I'm glad you agreed. What else?
Shuri steals the show.
Yeah, she does kind of steal the show. Looking forward to seeing her. She's featured pretty prominently in Infinity War, it looks like. So
Yeah.
good to see her. And if she dies, oh my God, we riot.
She better not die.
We're talking about like building up a character in somebody else's movie. He shows up in his own. It's like, what? At the last beat of his arc in Civil War is, I shall not let vengeance consume me anymore.
Right.
And then his movie starts, let's go kill Claw because he
I
killed
know.
my or whatever. Yeah. All right. That doesn't track.
No, it doesn't. And they kill Claw, like, too easily, in my opinion.
Marvel villain.
I would have liked to see Claw, like, stick around for
What do you think about the narrative of the white savior, i.e. Bilbo Baggins, saving the day? Also, this is another pretty low-stake thing, I think. It would be bad, ultimately, for the world if Killmonger is the ruler of Wakanda and he's getting those weapons out there. But again, it's just weapons to random people. You know, I think that, again, it's like the stakes are lower. They're personal stakes, but this isn't like an Ultron-level threat.
No, it's not.
That's fine.
And that's good because the Avengers aren't involved.
What do you think about a villain upstaging a hero?
I think that's somewhat problematic because you want the hero to stick out, you know?
Or have at least an equal
equal
journey.
footing. Yeah.
Or
absolutely.
arc. Yeah. Guess which one is played by the friend of the director?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Do you think that they changed the Killmonger role once it was cast?
You know, I didn't look into. I know that this is also in some way or shape or form or another has been in development or been thought about for a long time. So, that being said, I mean, I don't want to say that comics are the inferior medium, but I don't think there's ever been like a real good, examination of politics and blackness and all the things that everybody praises and are great about this film in the comics. Done like they do here.
Yep.
So I'm glad it exists, but it's probably influenced by the fact that he's a good friend of Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
Got hired too late to cast Michael B. Jordan as T'Challa in Civil War.
Yeah. Killmonger is a sympathetic bad guy.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Everybody says that. It's like he's a murderer. And he wants to
Yeah,
murder
that's
more
true.
people. I don't sympathize with him at all. I empathize with the fact that
Maybe that's
his
what I meant.
life has, been ruined by first, his father being killed for doing something bad.
Yep.
By the laws and morality of Wakanda, and that disenfranchised him.
Mm-hmm.
But heroes get over their disenfranchisement. Steve Rogers had a shitty upbringing.
Yeah, he did.
And he got over it.
Yep.
Because he's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't sympathize with him.
All right. Empathize then.
Sure.
Okay.
Do it.
No,
do it.
Do it. Do what?
Your haiku.
Oh, okay. Well, let me do the Stanley cameo first.
Yeah.
I was in South Korea, and he says to Ross about T'Challa's chips, "You know what? I think I'll just take these, bring them over here, and hold on to them for safekeeping."
Right.
Yeah.
Like you did for lots of money and attention.
Yes.
And fame.
Yes.
Digging on Stan Lee. It's fun.
Okay, my
but
haiku.
you can have my blood in exchange.
My haiku. The Black Panther is king, a strong warrior. He searches for Claw, destiny.
Nice.
Yeah.
No blue laser in this. Although there's blue light that are the shields.
Yep.
So they've taken it and they've redirected it.
Yep.
And now I don't know, man. I don't know. We outgrew the blue laser. That's okay.
That's okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I think I've proved that.
Yeah.
With a process that got boring and sort of worthless halfway through. But I saw it to the end like a good scientist.
Yes.
What's your rating of this film?
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Dang it. Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too. You know what? What's my first Avenger? 4.5. Yikes. Well, anyway. Apparently at one time I didn't like the first Avenger very much and really loved Cap 2. So I'm looking forward to Black Panther 2. I think it's going to be really good. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're way over time. So let's do what we promised we'd do simply because we promised we'd do it, but also because it's a good idea. Getting out of here, any questions that you have about what we're facing going into Infinity War?
Where are we going to find all the Infinity Stones?
They all are where they are.
Except for the one that we think might be Heimdall's eyes or something?
We don't know. That's the one that we don't know.
Yeah.
That's been kept deliberately as a secret, and pretty much everybody who can't say, but they're kind of saying, is that it's not in Wakanda. You know, it's not at the center of the mound or the vibranium mound or whatever. No,
Sure.
they could be lying.
Yeah.
They've done that, but that's pretty much what we think.
Okay.
I think we're going to Wakanda because the Avengers take Vision to Wakanda. Vision becomes the hot potato, the football.
Yep.
Because they know he's got one of these things, and so Thanos is going to want it. So they put Vision at the center of Wakanda, and then Thanos, because they know it's the safest place in the world because they've got all this technology and stuff like that.
Okay.
What else? Will Black Widow, not Black Widow, Red Widow, Red Witch, Scarlet Witch, Scarlet, it's a color. Will Scarlet Witch get some pants? Took too long. It's not really funny. What else?
Thanos has some goons that he brings with him. What do we know
Black
about them?
Order. Don't make me name them all. Oh, I'll do it right now. Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, Ebony Maw. He's not Black Dwarf. He's called something else now because they thought that Black Dwarf sounded like the guy from Bad Santa or something.
Okay.
So it's not going to be him. It's not. That was a joke, but it wasn't really funny. And they are all... they're this squad that, I don't know, Hickman came up with. They're new characters. They're not old characters.
Okay.
They were invented for the Infinity crossover, I believe, which was like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And they're all real tough.
Okay.
Now, it's always fungible because Cap has to beat one of them up, so they can't be that tough. But
Right.
when you think of like a guy like Adam Warlock or like a cosmic level character being like above Spider-Man's league, for instance,
Yep.
they are all themselves like very tough, like
Okay.
you know, almost as tough as Thanos.
Okay.
So they're bad news.
Okay. Let's see what else. I don't know. I have questions, but
You watch the trailer,
I watched the trailer.
watch them both, and you go, "Huh? What's the thing?" And I go, "I'll get you to the hospital right away. You're clearly having a stroke."
Where does he get the glove in the first place?
I don't know. He's just got a glove.
Okay. And he's got room for 5 stones.
Well, what it doesn't explain is that like is this his idea? Is he the first person to have the idea to have a golden glove that you put all these stones on?
Right.
Because I think in the comics it is. There are these things called the soul gems, and later on he figures out that they have a special abilities, and renames them the Infinity Gems, and then sticks them on his glove because he's got a golden or orange glove that he wears as part of his costume. But in the very first Thor movie, as an Easter egg, we see an Infinity Gauntlet, which at that time they were clearly not thinking that they were going to go there.
Yep.
They pay that off in Thor Ragnarok, where Kate Blanchett goes, "Oh, look, see this glove? It's not real, it's fake." But that means that some fake glove, at some point, somebody... To be something that somebody would see and go, "Ooh, they've got the Infinity Gauntlet," it has to have already existed.
Yes.
So I'm wondering what their backstory is going to be.
That's a good question.
And we'll find out in a YA novel. But they've already said that they will know. No, it's true.
Really?
Yeah, there's a YA novel written by blah called Thanos the blah blah. I don't know any of the facts. And they won't do... It's like Spider-Man. They're not going to do any origin story for him in Infinity War. If you want it, you have to read this book.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right.
Because this movie's going to be 3 hours long as it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Stones, heroes, villains.
What is Thanos' power besides just being really tough?
In the movies, I don't know. In the comics, he is an Eternal. What that means is he's a race of beings. I think they were modified. I think they were originally like Earth people, but they were modified by the Kree to be godlike, to be superhuman. They moved to Titan. A lot of them live on Titan, Saturn's moon.
Okay.
And they have a race that they fight against called the Deviants, who are like monsters.
Okay.
I think we talked about this a while ago. And the thing about Thanos is that he was born to eternal parents, but and they also basically live forever.
Okay.
Hence the name. And he was born to eternal parents, but he has deviant traits, which is he's purple and he's got the ears and the chin.
Okay.
So that was bad for him. He had a bad upbringing. I'm giving his origin now. So he was already very powerful. All the Eternals, just like the Asgardians, are very strong, naturally durable, bulletproof, and all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But he set off to the stars to make his fortune, and along the way, collected, like an RPG character, collected a bunch of stuff. So he, got this power, and it gave him the energy to do this. And then he modified himself with technology and all these other things. And so now he can shoot eye lasers, and he can lift as much as the Hulk, and he's basically it's bad news.
Okay.
So he's already very powerful. Like if he's basically like, is he a ripoff of Mongol, or is Mongol a ripoff of him? But anyway, he's Mongol basically. So if he wanted to like take over the galaxy, he'd have a pretty good shot. Now he wants his glove too.
Whose bad guy was he originally?
That is a great question. He definitely, oh boy, you got me there. Because Darkseid showed up in Jimmy Olsen, right? Superman's pal, like 56, as like a joke. I don't know. He probably the Avengers.
Okay.
I think. But he has tussled a lot with Adam Warlock.
Okay.
Who we didn't even talk about because we're getting bad at this. Guardians of the Galaxy in one of its 15 post-credit scenes teases Adam Warlock, and it's like,
yep.
That's a big promise.
Yep.
I hope you pay that off, but it would really, if you don't do it fast, it's not going to mean anything. Because he's the one character who is intimately tied into the Infinity Gems / stones. And if he shows up after Infinity War, it'll be like, what's up?
Great job, guys.
I don't have any reason to be here.
Yeah.
Anything else? You're doing good. You don't got anything else, though. We can move on.
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay. Any predictions for Infinity War? Avengers, Infinity War.
Well, I have some pretty easy predictions.
Well, don't give me stuff that we can just clearly get from the trailer.
Okay, well, this I don't think Thanos is going to get all the stones in the first film.
I don't either.
I think there's going to be a cliffhanger at the end of the film.
There will definitely be a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Although if he gets, so he's got the space stone,
mm-hmm.
which means he can teleport.
Yep.
He's got the power stone.
Yep.
Right?
I think so.
Because he gets the Xandar and the purple one, yeah. And so his face will crack off or something. He's just very powerful. And he'll, assuming that he succeeds, he will get the soul stone. Mm-hmm. Or sorry, the mind stone.
Right.
So here's the problem. They haven't really defined what the stones can do.
No.
So he can control minds. So here's a weird prediction.
Okay.
Maybe all the guys that lose will become Team Thanos.
Oh. Yeah.
So now Cap dead. I don't believe it, but Widow, Bucky, Black Panther,
mm-hmm.
will all like flip. They'll be mind controlled, be on Team Thanos.
Okay. I think that's a cool idea.
But like dun 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 dun, like minor key bummer version of the of the Avengers theme. Everybody thinks Loki will die. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, he may look like he dies.
Yep.
But who lives in a pineapple at the bottom of the sea?
Yeah.
SpongeBob SquarePants. Who's the guy who dies in these movies? And his whole thing is like, no, I didn't really die. Yeah.
Loki.
I think we'll get one of those.
Okay.
And then he will show up later and help save the day because his meta arc is that he is becoming a hero.
Very cool.
He starts off as the worst person ever.
Yep.
An adopted child. We all know that they're worth less than regular children.
Stop it.
And so they wrote it. And he is, through Thor's example, which is the point of being a hero, is to provide an example to regular people. I think he will turn a corner.
Okay.
He'll still be deceptive. He's Loki.
Yeah.
But he will do the right thing.
Okay.
Spike Lee style.
Very nice.
Prediction.
Wakanda will sustain a lot of damage. That's an easy one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty obvious.
Wild and crazy prediction. Ready?
Okay.
Oh, you can do it if you want, but here's mine. So Wanda Maximoff is famous in the comics for saying, no more mutants. Right?
Right.
And then they get rid of all the mutants.
Yep.
Only they So, well, she does. Yeah, she does. And there are less mutants. It doesn't make a lot of sense. What if in this she says, lots of mutants. Make mine mutants.
Okay.
What if her powers, reality-altering powers, are augmented by the reality stone or her connection to the stones? Mick and Keith, of course. And she brings the Fox universe into the Marvel universe.
That would be really cool.
Would it? I think it'd be really dumb, but it'd be a way for them to continue what they've got and then explain why the Statue of Liberty didn't blow up in the year 2000 or whatever.
Right.
And I predict this is going down the line, but whatever happens, it'll all be fixed because one of the good guys will get their hands on the Infinity Gauntlet. And I say good guys, but I almost feel like this is a spoiler because I think this is actually going to happen.
What?
But there's a reason that Nebula's in this thing.
Yeah, that's true.
She plays a pretty big role in Infinity Gauntlet comic series.
Mm-hmm.
So, just saying.
So you think that Nebula is going to get a hold of it?
Just saying. I think at some point it might trade between a couple people.
Okay.
We'll see.
I wonder what a good guy is going to do with it.
Adam Warlock had a real hard time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet.
God, I wish Adam Warlock was in this.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
And I hope, here's my thoughts and hopes, and we'll have our reaction to what actually happens and whether those hopes are justified next week on our show. I hope that they don't disappear up their own butts chasing this MacGuffin. Like, no offense to Starlin, he definitely created something that lasted and had an effect and is still around, and we're looking at a movie right now that's going to have it. But it isn't about the doodads and the gewgaws and the doohickeys. It's about these heroes, you know what I mean? And it's about the archetypes they represent, and these movies have definitely been about the characters and how we feel about them and the Tumblr posts we make about them and the way they interact with each other. And I hope we don't lose that while we're chasing after this Golden Glove thing.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say.
So too.
Are we good?
Yep, I think we're good.
Well, then only one place left to go.
Yep. Wakanda.
The biggest Stan Lee cameo of all.
Yeah.
Well, that's my other weird prediction.
What's that?
Stan Lee dies.
Oh, boy.
Stan Lee's cameo will be as a bystander who is clearly killed by whatever goes on.
That's dark.
Yep. Because he can't keep doing these.
Yeah, I know.
We have to have a turning point. And if you want to sell Thanos as a bad guy,
kill Stan Lee.
It's kind of ripping it off from when Darkseid killed Dan Turpin in the Superman animated series, but steal from the best.
Okay.
And it's Darkseid. They're already stealing, so. Thanos is based on Darkseid.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, my other prediction is borrowed from another podcast. Well, I'm borrowing their thing, so I'll give them a shout out. It's the Weekly Planet podcast. James Mason on the Weekly Planet thinks that Pepper is in the armor, the Iron Man armor.
Okay.
Because she does have her own armor in the comics, Rescue.
Right.
She does wear it in 3, and that because Tony is, we see him with the phone, and we see him very surprised that there's chaos in the streets of New York. So whatever he does with Doctor Strange, he's out of contact. And because he is, they need Iron Man, and it's Pepper, not Tony, that responds to the thing. And then she's the one that gets just deaded by Thanos and killed, basically. And so when we see Tony, like, clearly distraught and seeming to mourn something, some people say it's Spider-Man. Could still be, but that's the thing that, like, breaks Tony.
Okay. That's pretty big.
And it fits.
Yeah, it does.
So go to that website, podcast. I'm not going to say it again. Okay, well, we'll see you next week for Infinity War. But we're back to just close the show out, I guess. We got to turn the lights out, sweep up, refill the ketchup bottles. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, all the usual places, on iTunes and Stitcher and Apple Podcasts, which is, if you're back in time with the time stone, you're doing iTunes. If it's now, it's Apple Podcasts. And one day I'll get that right. While you're there, give us a review. We'd appreciate it. Subscribe to the show. That's the best way to get the show. And give us a rating. Probably the most important thing, because that's how the algorithm knows that we're doing a good job.
That's
so
right.
I'm saying 5 Infinity Stones.
Sounds
I
good.
don't know where the other one is. But I guess it's Luther's eyes, I guess. So keep your hands in your pockets and your eyes in your head. And if you watch Luther, you get that. And you're our kind of people. And we'll talk to you next week when we're talking about Infinity War. That's it. See you then. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mika.
Keep the geek fires burning.